Yo,
Hello, Satoshi. What you doing?
just digging into Kaspa. It's wild, Elon.
Are you alone?
What's up? What's up?
What's going on? Who's that?
Jack, go to our chat.
What's up? What's up?
Yo, Mike, grab the line.
Yo. What's up?
So, what you doing, Elon?
Oh man, just buying, flying, Caspa to Mars and in stars.
Me too. Me too.
People say crypto is complicated, risky, not for the real world. But what if you could send money to a friend instantly or for less than a cent? What if you could pay for your iPhone, your coffee or your life without banks, delays or hidden fees? What if moving millions felt as simple and as safe as letting your Tesla drive you home? This isn't crypto for crypto people. This is money for everyone, finally.
Ground control to Major Tom.
Smart contracts on Kaspa, starting August 31. Kasplex, you magnificent nerds.
Get the fuck out of bed, bitch, go. Get up, and then they got go. Time to wake up, bitch, get up. Get up, get up.
Hey, yo, welcome to Blockchain Banter, episode 60. Good evening, everyone. What's going on, Chris? How we doing, man?
Really good, thanks, mate. You?
I'm good, bro. I'm excited. I accidentally made a coffee instead of a tea, so I'm buzzing right now to hear what's going on.
That's never a bad thing. I always have a coffee with me for this show, but because they normally go on for quite a long time, I have my Wolfie's coffee cup, the massive one. I don't think you can call it a cup. It's more like a...
Oh, shit. We'll be here for days.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You know what? I saw a post today from Full Face saying he woke up and thought, "Oh God, it's Monday," and then he thought, "Oh no, wait, it's blockchain banter. It's Monday." What a brilliant change of attitude that is.
Yeah.
I hope
Do you know,
everyone feels like that.
I was legit just speaking to him in another chat. He sent a screenshot from the Zealoswap admin chat where they were counting down the minutes to blockchain banter. It was quite funny to see. Like, it started from half an hour, got down to 15 minutes, got down to 20 minutes, 10 minutes. It's jokes.
I love it. Let's go cult-like.
God, we got a banger today, man. Absolute banger. We're going to be hearing live and direct from Caspador. It's currently 4 a.m. in the morning for him as he's over in Malaysia. He's dropped the bombshell of the news that set fire to the timeline this morning. I believe people have not even gone to bed since that post. But yeah, I'm looking forward to diving into there. Bring on 31st of August. Then we've got VJ up here, newly welcomed into the CAS community. Geezer's been on the timeline, absolutely, it's stealing up mind share of Caspa and spreading word like no tomorrow. So looking forward to hearing his story as well. And also big updates from Nacho and Wolf. I'll check CAS FYI earlier, right? Everything's green. Everyone's up. Everyone's buzzing. Green is everywhere. Love to see. So I want to hear updates from them too. So, man, we've got an action-packed bloody show. I could hear myself saying it and picture it at the same time, getting excited like a kid at Christmas Day.
You know why it's green, don't you, Levendi?
Oh, go on then.
It's Monday. It's Monday. Blockchain banter.
Let's
it's always
go.
green for us.
Let's go. Place to be, man. I don't know where I'd be without blockchain banter on a Monday night, to be honest. I don't think we've missed one to ever get that feeling since we started. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where I'd be.
You'll be dead.
Thanks, Wolf.
Oh, he's the ever optimist Wolf.
It's true. That's why I'm alive. I'm alive because of my wife. If I didn't meet her, I would have been dead by now. But for Levendi, it's blockchain banter.
Wait. So you're telling me blockchain banter is my wife?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
I mean, bro, is a good wife to have.
Yeah.
I guess I'll always win that
wife
argument.
there,
Fucking hey, what a picture. What's going on, Wolf? How are you, mate?
Yeah, good. Busy day. A lot of administration, which I don't like, but it's needed. It's the boring side of business. Always that business is 90% administration in the modern era.
Yeah, it's an absolute joke. Too much red tape, too much regulation. I need to start stripping it back. That's why a lot of us are here. That's why we're in crypto. That's why we're in Bitcoin. That's why we're in Kaspa.
How did you do all your admin? Because when you actually have to physically build every day also. So
yeah, Tom is just, if I didn't have Tom,
yeah.
I'd be probably in jail as well. Not for anything bad, just because I couldn't fill in all the stuff that I needed to for regs. So I'm very much the sort of ADHD, just let me go loose on building and I'll get stuff up.
Yeah.
He's the very intelligent, let's do the paperwork side of stuff. We work together as a good team anyway.
No, I know. You guys have saved me a couple of times, so I know.
Yeah, that's what friends are for, bro. Oh dear. Ashton, how are you doing?
Fantastic, man. It's Monday. Blockchain banner. I'm here. I'm excited. And it was a hell of a fun weekend, too. I just can't get the thought out of my head that we need to warn all future speakers about the Levendi blockchain banner relationship, just so they know what they're getting into, you know.
Yeah, there's a real deep relationship there Levendi's got with blockchain banter. What was your weekend anyway? Why was you so excited about the weekend?
Oh, it was just fun. It was just a fun weekend to I don't know, be a part of this ecosystem, right? CAS reclaiming 10 cents is fun. We made a lot of Moonbound updates over the weekend, so I was in code a lot of the time. Times I wasn't, I was in the pool with the kids. So it was just good all around, man.
Loving it. It's what life's about. Nice, healthy balance, it sounds there, Ashton, which is always good. Okay, the space seems pretty warmed up. Yeah, it's very warmed up. So I know Caspador is like 4 a.m. in the morning for him, and he's been working extremely hard at the Malaysia event. So let's get Caspador up and let's go through some things. Are you with us, Caspador?
What's going on, Caspador? Testing.
Hey,
1, 2.
good morning, everyone.
Good morning, brother.
Hey, thank you for having me. Sorry, and nice seeing new faces and important faces, I would say, which are like BJ, the Kaspa Onion, and other guys here. So welcome to Cas, but it's a bit late for me to say that. You've already been here for a while now, so thank you for listening and for exploring what Caspa is. So what can I say about the event? Well, to be honest, my expectations from this event in terms of how many people will join, because let's say Malaysia, for some, is not like a crypto hub or anything, right? My expectations were that there will not be a lot of people and maybe just 1-2 booths here and there, and that's that booth. So to my surprise today, it was packed. Like everything was so crammed. I can barely reach the Casplex booth. Everyone was busy bee flying around left and right. And they started with an open speech from the organizers, and then I've been the first speaker on the main stage. And I believe there were like, I don't know, maybe 100 chairs or something in front of the main stage, with the exception of the main row, which was reserved for the speakers. Everything was full, and basically what I did and the pitch that I had started with an overall information on what Caspa is. And then obviously we went through what Casplex is, our products, the release date, and we finished with the release date, and it was a very short time, like 15 minutes or so. But man, after the presentation, everyone came to our booth. Evie took some pictures. It was very, very packed. People asked a lot of questions. But to my surprise, because I'm a Caspa Maxi for the last almost 3 years, of course, and I don't know anything else about any other projects. To my surprise, when they were reaching the booth and they were asking like, what's Casplex? My response was always, it's a layer 2 on top of Caspa. And their question then was, what is Caspa? And I was like, you cannot ask this, right? Like, how can you not know what Caspa is? So as per my post, I got a reality check, and that was very, very good for me. Check was
I think that's
that.
quite. Sorry,
What?
Caspador.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think that's quite an important point, isn't it? Because we do, like, it's easy to be in the X space and the crypto bubble, and then certainly when you niche it down even more into the Caspa bubble, where you just assume that everybody knows what this thing is, not realizing that actually there's a lot of people out there that don't know what Caspa is at all. And it does surprise me sometimes, because you especially when you just speak to someone new and you're talking about Caspa, and like you said, they're like, well, what's Caspa? What's great about it? And it sort of puts you on the spot, because then you've got to have like a elevator pitch to describe what Caspa is, the benefits of it. And then what's even harder is if they don't even understand Bitcoin or crypto at all, you're sort of working from scratch, and it's quite a hard thing to explain why Caspa is so unique in the space.
Yeah, but you would expect still you are at a conference, crypto conference, so you'd expect at least for them to know what a cryptocurrency is. But indeed, the first question that when I received the first guy that asked me this, I was like, that guy blocked me for 30 seconds or something. I was like, okay, 1 second, I need to reboot. I thought that maybe he's just making fun, but no. So what I want to say with this point is that yes, indeed, we are living in a small bubble, X bubble, and there is a good and a bad thing from this point of view. The good thing is that we are still very early, in my opinion, and not entirely to Caspa, but maybe to crypto as in general. So that's a good thing because you still have time to preach and to promote what you believe in. The bad thing, obviously, is that you would expect from all. Again, I expected to be a small event, but it was a very large one. You would expect from an event to have people shouting and saying, "Yes, Caspa, Caspa." It wasn't like that. Of course, there were persons, people that were well aware of Caspa. We had someone interested saying, "We are following Caspa for the last 3 years or something. This is revolutionary. This is everything that we are looking and hope for." But again, the reality check was quite impressive for me. But we spent the day at the booth, basically booth. Sorry for the pronunciation. We, at least me and Avi and James, we talked with each and every one that came by. Everything started with Caspa, then going up to what Casplex is doing, and some of them were very intrigued, while others were just passing by, and that was that. They weren't impressed. And basically, I had a very good question from someone saying, "How is Caspa different from any other block DAG?" And I had a like maybe 15 minutes discussion with that person. He wasn't not at all impressed. He said like, "Well, I wish you good luck, but and block DAG is a very good technology, but sadly, the users and let's say the vast majority of the crypto space is not." Well, sorry, I'm trying to gather my thoughts. Is not into tech, right? They don't care about it, and they're like, click next, swap, and that's that. So that's good. You don't need to please everyone, but you do need to reach the masses, and not necessarily to hype your belief or like your project, but at least to make them aware. So for me, at the end of the day, what matters is that I managed to talk with a lot of people. Hopefully, made them curious. Hopefully, they will do research Caspa, maybe sooner rather than later. So that for me is a huge win. But again, it was a great event. We have another one coming up in 5 hours. I need to go to sleep soon. So we will continue doing so. Again, we are very excited and to announce the mainnet of the smart contracts, which is going to happen by end of August. The way that the gas is going to be paid for the layer 2 is going to be getting gas from the layer 1 and then use gas as a layer 2 gas locked in a smart contract. So that bridge will come up for public testing very soon. The nodes for Casplex, even if you want to run a full node, if you want to run an RPC node or a lightweight node, there will be three variants of it. Documentation and everything will be shared, I expect, next week. So there should be sufficient time for everyone to test the bridge and the hosting of a node. And we will do our best to launch without any issues. I had a very good discussion with Chris from Casplex. I asked him specifically, like, do you see any potential risk that can make us say, we made a mistake, we need to roll back and we're going to deploy on whatever other date? He said, no, not at all. So confidence is high, and that's that. So I would say thank you all for listening to me. As always, I tend to speak a lot. Sorry for my voice. And again, Hi VJ, hi Caspa Onion, and hi everyone else who is very or fairly new to Caspa. Thank you all for taking your time and reading into what Caspa is and what Caspa does.
Really, really appreciate your time, Caspador, especially as I know it is really early there and you've got to get up and do another keynote by the sounds of things. But yeah, I really appreciate your time coming up and telling us all about the event and obviously what Casplex are doing and when they're going to launch. I was going to say, is there any time for just some quick fire questions, or are you needing to get?
Of course.
Fantastic.
Legend, Caspador. We've just got a couple come through on the Jumbotron. Chris, unless you have your own first, and then we can rotate back to the Jumbotron.
No, we can go straight from the Jumbotron.
Awesome.
It might cover my stuff as well.
Awesome, awesome. So Crypto Positive got in there with 2 questions before the space started. I lost his questions when we started, but then he reposted, thank God. So I've just pinned it up. First question is asking, how will the bridging in and out work for L2?
All the documentation and everything in terms of architecture and design of the bridge will be documented and shared. I had the same question. So basically, as far as it gets for me and my understanding is like when a user would like to port over and to have CAS as gas on the layer 2, there will be a bridge which basically will lock your Caspa in a smart contract from that is getting the Caspa from the layer 1. You are doing your payments and paying the gas and doing everything on the layer 2, and then when you want to basically go back to the layer 1, you will burn those gas from the smart contract and have those from the layer 1 available again to you. I didn't have the time to actually deep dive into the architecture, but as I was saying at the beginning, the documentation will explain everything.
Thanks for that explanation, Caspador, and looking forward to opening and diving deep into the documentation. So his second question, he goes into asking when will the audit results be ready, and he's asking if there is any known info about it.
I missed it. When will the results be ready, or what was the question?
The results of the audit.
Of the audit. Oh, okay. The expectation is prior to the mainnet. So I tweeted a while back. I'm not sure, maybe it flew under the radar. And I said, this is the company that is going to do the audit. So our expectation is to have everything ready by the mainnet. So that's that, yeah.
Awesome. Thanks again, Caspador. And moving on to Bellrock's question, any revenue share with the RPC nodes?
Our engagement model and the way we are using the GTM, the go-to-market, is different from, let's say, the crypto space, right? One would argue saying, well, if you incentivize me, I'm going to host your node and I'm going to make it more decentralized. Where, in my opinion, this is not let's say, the case. And Casplex now is not doing any RPC or hosting nodes or testnet incentives to anyone. And the reason is not because we don't like to do so or we don't believe this is the good approach. But, and this might sound funny or not, but it is not. Casplex is a non-profit organization, so the funding is quite limited. If someone has the impression that money are flying around left and right, they are totally wrong. And I can tell you this from the first hand. So incentivizing and providing liquidity for such activities, while it would be a good idea from some projects' point of view, from ours it is not. And obviously the next follow-up question would be, so how would you, why would someone be incentivized to use your nodes or to host your nodes? You will be centralized, right? We can spend like 2 hours talking about this, but my short response is not, we are not, everything is centralized when it comes to nodes. Even if you pay them to run the nodes, what is holding anyone's back to basically host 10,000 nodes to get the large share of the incentive for him. And when he's done, he can just shut down those nodes. I'm talking now on an extreme case, right? So not to drag this too long, no, there's not going to be any incentivized for running nodes or for any other testing activities. Nor Casplex will have any token to be airdropped or distributed.
Amazing.
Or sold, yeah.
Amazing. Thank you, Caspador. Before I go on to the next question, I see Nacho Ashton's raised his hand. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I just wanted to add a tiny bit to what Caspador just said, because I agree with what he said about the perspective of like decentralization and stuff. And it's a good opportunity for us to just look at the layer one that it's running on, right? No one has any incentive to run cast nodes either, but we do. And we still trust that they're properly decentralized. So I think what we need to focus on is the code that comes out of Casplex for these full nodes, light nodes, et cetera, like Caspador said, so that we can ensure that people get as many of these up as possible. And the follow-up to that, Casper, is do you have any idea what the hardware requirements would be for those nodes?
I know them, and sorry, I don't want to deflect this in just another answer saying you'll have the responses on the documentation, but that is the case. So I've discussed this with Chris specifically. I asked him what's the requirements for running an A10 node and the RPC and the light one. And I have the let's say the insights, but he kindly asked me to postpone any such, let's say, information to the others until we don't have a publicly let's say a public release. Sorry. So I would again defer to the documentation that is coming up most probably next week. Don't shoot me if it's not, but this is the expectation. So proper information about how to run, what nodes, what are the requirements, what are the specs, and here is the instruction. This should follow very, very soon.
Very cool. Yeah, no problem waiting for official docs. It kind of makes sense to do that anyway, I think, on this type of question. So cool. Appreciate you.
Awesome. Thank you for that follow-up question, Ashton. Back to the Jumbotron pick I came through asking, is it going to be open source or closed source?
It's open, 100% open source. I don't want to go into explaining more why it is not today. Some might understand, some might not. So, but our but our desire is to fully open source everything.
That is awesome to hear. Thank you, Caspador. One question from Rosa Brandt. She's asking, how does smart contract better KRC20s? If you can explain that for the normies, please.
How the smart contracts are better than a KRC20. KRC20, even with the new 4 OP codes that allow basically stable coins to exist on Caspa, or maybe that also flew under the radar, but Casplex released 4 OP codes, I think 2 months back. I can't recall exactly, where you can basically what are needed for the stablecoins to be issued, such as blacklisting and blocking through some wallets, the requirements they had, so on and so forth. So KRC20, sorry, is I like to always call it, and I got this question today as well, lots of time. Do a parallel between BRC20, which are Bitcoin inscriptions, right? So KRC20 is the same. You have inscriptions on chain, in our case, on our network, on Caspa network DEG, and they serve a purpose, but they are difficult to integrate and to provide liquidity with, right? So, for example, all the KRC20 tokens, they are unique in terms of ticker. They don't have a contract address, and they have only, let's say, Nacho versus Kaspa pair, right? It's very hard to have directly on the network Kaspa versus USDC or USDT. So it's quite limitative, but at the same time, they serve a different purpose. So it's not like you're not playing with your stick in the sand and you call yourself like we are crypto. No, we did basically the same like Bitcoin with the inscriptions. It's just another model. Whereas the smart contract obviously unleashes everything that a normal user knows about, right? So you can have DeFi, you can have NFTs, you can have lending and borrowing, you can have staking, you can have whatever utility or let's say application exists out there. So this is whilst you have let's say a more specific and closed scope for the KRC20, the smart contract, and but KRC20 is also a layer 2. Then the smart contracts basically unleashes more power. So everything that you know today is going to be brought to Caspa by Casplex.
Awesome, Caspador. Thank you so much for that answer. I hope that explains it well for you, Rosa. I know it's quite late for you in the morning, so I don't want to bombard you with too much right now. I just want to end this Jumbotron session with one message from Tree Brother. He just wants to say, fantastic work, and the hard work pays off.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And I always been a Caspa Maxian since I've discovered it. And the sad part is, and sorry for doing this rant, nobody cares about what I have to say, but I will do it nevertheless. And you guys know this because I wrote this in your chat. You see so many people saying, ah, great, let's fucking go, let's have USDC, let's promote Caspa, let's do this, let's do that. But no one actually says, good luck, brother, you're going to smash it. Because I'm not talking only about Casplex, I'm talking about Caspa, because you cannot talk about Casplex without Caspa. And as I was saying, when someone is asking you what's Casplex, you need to go from ground up, right? Explaining what Caspa is. So part of my job, which I do with so much pleasure, is to explain what Caspa is. So to finalize to finish the rant, it's nice to serve each and everyone. It's tough, but this is the word, to see that no one actually cares about what you are doing, even if that is helping them, even by let's say 0.01%. But this is just my personal belief. But this has nothing to do with the comment. I appreciate the comment. I thank you for the comment, and thank you everyone for taking 28 minutes to listen to my shit voice. I'll stick around for a few more minutes to listen on VJ and others. And thank you all for having me, Levendi, Chris, Ashton, and Wolfie. Talk to you as always. Be safe, everyone.
Caspador, it's always a pleasure to have you up here, man. You are always welcome. Appreciate you taking the time this late or early for you in the morning, I should say, to come and update us and answer all these questions. Appreciate it, bro.
And I just want to say or add that there are a lot of people out there that really do appreciate the efforts you go to. And I know obviously are people out there that are just like, woo, let's go Moonbag. But there is a hell of a lot of people, and they may be silent in that, but they do appreciate the efforts that you do and a lot of other people do as well. So I just want you to know that, because it's true. And you have smashed it, and you're going to continue to smash it later on this evening or today for you. Yeah, you're in the morning. I'll get confused. And I don't think you've got a shit voice. You actually speak better English than I do, even though it's 4 a.m. there for you. So massive props to you, man. And genuinely, really appreciate the work and efforts you do. You are a trooper. And it's really not hard to get up and speak in front of people. There's a lot of people out there that are very intelligent at what they do and understand how to communicate with people, but they can't get up and speak in front of a crowd, because it's a really it's quite a lonely thing to do. Actually, it takes a lot of balls, and I'm just glad that that person is you, Caspador, because you can get it across really well. So yeah, just wanted to say that there are a lot of people out there that are rooting for you, man, and we really do appreciate the efforts that you put in.
I'm going to bring Caspador some avocados in Berlin just to say thank you. And by the way, Chris, I'm one of those guys. I struggle talking in front of people. I'm a very, very shy guy.
yeah, really shy. Are you going to sell him those avocados in cash, or are these freebies?
No, make him a nice meal. Every time I do an avocado post, I make Caspador's day, so it's my duty to make him something with avocados when I'm there.
People don't know the avocado joke, but I look forward to receiving those in Berlin.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are in the audience going, "What the fuck is he talking about?" But yeah, I suppose it's sort of an in joke.
They're wondering
Is
if
this a new shit
avocado is
coin?
short for pigeons.
No. If this is a shit coin, let's buy. Let's say, what are these guys talking about? Do we have a new shit coin? Let's buy
No,
avocados.
no. There's no coin called avocado. No,
There
Everyone
is a
is
place
scouring
you
moon
could
bounds
launch
right
one,
now.
though.
Yeah.
Oh dear, awesome. Yeah, much respect to you, Caspador, and thanks again so much for coming on and telling us all about what you've been up to in Casplex and what Casplex are up to, and really looking forward to the end of August. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. Mainnet launch for an L2 on Kaspa. Cannot wait for it. It's going to be incredible. Awesome. Levendi, are we going straight to VJ next?
Yeah, straight to VJ, man. I want to meet the guy and listen to the story and hear everything about him. What's going on, VJ, man? Good evening for us, early evening for you, I suppose. What's going on, man?
What is up? How's everyone? I guess this is my first public voice interaction with all of you, so just excited to be here. Caspador, I wanted to say I strongly disagree with you about your opinion of what people think of you, how you're not making an impact. I mean, I just joined this community and I could tell how much of an impact you're making, and I think it's fascinating because you are literally shaping history with what you're doing. So I mean, this pump of 15% or so in the last day is probably because of you and your announcement of smart contracts. So really fascinating. It's just great to be, I guess, more on the outside looking in, and then now starting to be a part of the community and seeing the key players who are shaping the future that we're all striving for. So just want to say that I really appreciate listening to you and just gave you a follow too, because, just getting to know everyone here. But how is everyone? How can I guess, what can I share? What would you like me to talk about?
Well, VJ, you have absolutely taken the Caspa community by storm. I remember seeing your first post after the shitcoin post, after you'd looked into Caspa, and you said you were losing followers, but I think you was at I want to say 1,000. Was it about 1,000
I was
followers?
like 1,600, 1,700 followers. Got a bunch of, I mean, the typical stuff. It's like, oh, unfollowed, blocked, some swear words. And I'm like, all right, that's fine. And then I tripled my followers. And I'm like, okay, seems like this community is significantly stronger than the Bitcoin Maxi community, and almost seemed like it's the echo chamber, right? We talk about it. And just being so involved in X, you could see only what you want to see, right? The algorithm just feeds you exactly what you want to see. So you think that everyone in the world cares about it, but then you zoom out, you talk to regular people, most of them don't even have any allocation of crypto or don't understand Bitcoin. And then you realize, hey, we understand Bitcoin so much, we realize there's some potential flaws in it. Now let's dive deeper into a stronger solution. And I think it's actually just fascinating, just being so in the I guess details, seeing what 99% of the world doesn't even see. I mean, I was just looking at the numbers. The crypto market cap right now is about 4 trillion, about 3.8 trillion. The total global market cap is about 1,000 trillion, so like a quadrillion basically. So that means crypto as a whole has 0.4% of total global assets, and of that, Bitcoin is 60%. And so, yeah, we're talking about something that's literally 1/1000th the size of Bitcoin. You see how small this is? And it's crazy being this early in trying to help the world adopt sound money. So I think that's where my passion, my mission come. Because the moment I got orange pilled, just learning about Bitcoin, I'm like, shit, this is it. So I sold a house, I sold all my index funds, went nearly 100% into Bitcoin. And right now I'm in the process of closing on my last house, hopefully closes next month. And it's just, I'm bearish on residential real estate because that's how most people built wealth. That's what I was planning to do. But then I realized, there's actually a lot of fault with this industry, even though it has over $300 trillion of value. I'm like, yeah, Bitcoin's going to take away from that. And then as I dive deeper into Bitcoin, seeing the flaws, especially with the CAS community, I'm like, okay, there's a possibility that Caspa may take away market cap from Bitcoin. I mean, it's all rising, right? As long as fiat gets debased, everything's going to go up in nominal terms. But in real terms, I do see Caspa taking away market share from Bitcoin, from Ethereum, from Solana, from all these top 5, top 10, top 50 cryptocurrencies. And that's why I'm extremely bullish. But again, I don't know what I don't know. I've only been in this space for about a month or so. So started with a good 10% allocation, happy with it, but looking for possibly, I mean, you guys know this. Yeah, I'm going to add more. Just slow and steady, looking for, good market structure, and may look for areas to accumulate more heavily, but probably not in the next few weeks, waiting for possibly a retracement. But I have good enough holdings for it to just go up and not feel FOMO.
Absolutely awesome, man. I love that as well. The the 3,000 followers that you managed to gain in pretty much overnight, obviously they were all bots because the Caspa
100%.
community, yeah, it's just made up of bots, obviously. Like, again, I don't have any hatred or feel any animosity against anyone who, especially Bitcoiners, when they see like a community like Caspa at the moment, they probably do think it's bots, and I can understand that. I can empathise with that, because they're probably thinking, "What the hell is Caspa? It's just come out of nowhere, and apparently it's got this really, really strong community." And I actually empathise with the fact that a lot of them do think Caspa is a shitcoin at first, because why wouldn't they? The crypto space for years has just been plagued with empty promises and buzzwords, and this is what we're going to do, and we're going to be the next Bitcoin, and blah 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 blah. And it leaves a sour taste in your mouth. And when you just hear something else that has apparently solved the trilemma, you just think, well, that's a load of shit. Of course it hasn't. I've heard this all before. So I do actually empathise with that. And actually, this is sort of what happened with you at the beginning as well. You heard, and I'm going to completely back you up here. This is what I thought of Caspa when I first heard about it, because I didn't believe it. I didn't believe anything could solve the trilemma. So, but yeah, your first sort of interaction with Caspa, you left a message saying that it's just a shitcoin, because again, that's the ethos of Bitcoin. Anything other than Bitcoin is a shitcoin. And but what was really interesting, and what I've got to give you massive props for, is when you started hearing some of the arguments, you then started to dig a little bit deeper into it yourself, which is why you are where you are now. Which is just fantastic. And I think that comes from a very OG Bitcoiner thinking, where, it's exactly what you've just said. You value sound money, and Bitcoin and Caspa are that, in my opinion, and obviously yours as well. So yeah, can you tell us about that sort of journey? Like, one, how you got into Bitcoin, and then what it was that actually triggered you to look into Caspa itself.
Yeah, so I think it was 2016-ish. I was went to a quick local mini conference with a coworker, and he said it was about blockchain or something. So I went there. I didn't really understand it, but surprisingly, the whole thing was actually about Ethereum. So I didn't really understand it. I was like, okay, this is fine. So I don't even think they talked about Bitcoin. They just talked about blockchain technology and all the use cases of it. They weren't even talking about it as money. So dismissed it. A couple years later, got reintroduced to it, and someone online, they're like, hey, I'll pay you $15 in Bitcoin or something like that. I'm like, okay, sure. So I create a wallet, or I create an account with Coinbase. I received the $15, and I'm like, okay, I don't just want 15. So I threw in $100 or so, and then forgot about it. And then it started going up, and I'm like, okay, this thing's going to crash, whatever. I don't have that much exposure. Then fast forward, I think, to 2024, towards the end of the year, I went to a lunch. I was having a conversation with this guy, and he told me, he's like, hey, have you heard of this person named Michael Saylor? I'm like, no, I've never heard of him. I don't know what this is. Like, I have a small Bitcoin exposure at this time, but nothing major. And he's like, oh, you should listen to him. He's basically raising capital to buy Bitcoin. I'm like, oh, that's really fascinating. So I listened to his, I guess, quarterly reports, and I thought that was absolutely fantastic and just fascinating. So it really made me dive deeper into this Bitcoin space. And coincidentally, this is when Rajat Soni, as you guys all know, I've been following him on the personal finance train, I guess, on Instagram for many years. So I mean, I wouldn't say know him, but I've been following him for a few years. And then when he switched to Bitcoin, and I see Michael Saylor doing this, and I see a lot more institutional adoption, BlackRock listing ETFs and all this, and I'm like, okay, Vijay, maybe you should not ignore this. Let's just look into it. So I started following a bunch of channels, and I'm like, okay, it's not about, oh, this isn't worth anything because it doesn't produce cash flows. It's Bitcoin is worth something because it's literally replacing fiat money. And I started learning about money, started learning Austrian economics. And again, this is coming from someone who studied finance undergrad, accounting minor, got my CFA, got my CFP, but we never learned what is money. We learned how to value investments. We look at the cash flows, we do discounted cash flows, or we use multiples to figure out how much a company's worth, but we never figure out what is money. And the whole traditional finance is layered on, or it's basically built on the foundation that the treasury is a risk-free asset. And I remember asking this in undergrad, and I'm like, hey, why is it the risk-free asset? My professor said, if the government ever defaults, they could just print more. And I literally just accepted it as, oh, okay, makes sense. And I never questioned it. And then I realized as I got into the Bitcoin space, more and more people are questioning it. I'm like, maybe that isn't the solution. And so again, became extremely orange-pilled, became Bitcoin maxi, but with the conversation, because I'm like, okay, Bitcoin is winning. The second place is Ethereum. Uses proof of stake, not proof of work. It can never become money. Next one's stablecoin. The next one's XRP, which we all know how we feel about that. And I'm just like, okay, nothing can become money. Bitcoin is the winner. And I'm just like, I don't have time to go through 10,000 cryptocurrencies to figure out the next gem or whatnot, because I'm happy with Bitcoin. So I put nearly all my money in Bitcoin, all my wealth. And then that's why I said it's a shitcoin with Kaspa. And I'm very happy that's a part of my story, because it just shows how much blinders we have as Bitcoin maxis, because if it's not Bitcoin's a shitcoin, right? It's literally that's what it is. And then you guys made some extremely valid points. In fact, it's almost like you attacked me with kindness, and I was grateful for that. You're basically saying, giving me enough ammunition to make my own, or to make me curious enough to Google it instead of just dismissing it as a shitcoin, because I absolutely did. And then started looking into it, and I'm like, okay, this is actually kind of fascinating. Okay, there's so much I don't understand about the technology, but it does seem revolutionary. It seems like the community's filled with authentic people, not bots, as a lot of maxis call it, because I've been having real conversations with people. They're literally sending me Kaspa, like small amounts, like 3, 4, 5 Kaspa. Every now and then I get 100 Kaspa here and there. What's that? 7, or it's like $10 now. So nothing material, but enough for me to be like, wow, this is a pretty cool community that they're willing to educate me, sharing resources, and want to just share the words, almost like how when we were all, I guess, orange pilled initially. We just want to tell everyone about Bitcoin. It's not that, oh, you're going to buy $10 of Bitcoin, so it's going to make my Bitcoin go up. It's like, dude, I don't care about your $10 buy. I'm really trying to help you on this monetary revolution, and that's almost how I feel with Kaspa community. Yeah, it's a smaller market cap. There's a lot more market volatility, but the tech is unparalleled to, or I guess maybe paralleled if you play words with BlockDAG, but it is a really fascinating tech, and I'm just grateful to be part of this community, very welcoming and supportive. So just want to say I appreciate each and every one of you guys.
Really appreciate that, man. And I totally agree with you. I think this community is absolutely fantastic. I can't even remember how long I've been in this community for now, 2 years, maybe 2.5. And the amount of guidance, and because it's complicated stuff, like if you really want to go into the tech, it's quite complicated and it's quite hard to get your head around. So you do rely on other people that are more techie, more smarter than you, to help guide you through this journey. And that's what I really liked about the community of Kaspa, is I got nothing but help, even though I was asking probably stupid questions, but it got me to where I am now in understanding the tech. And what's really funny is I thought I knew, because again, I loved Bitcoin and I still do love Bitcoin. I thought I knew a lot about Bitcoin, and then I suppose it's sort of like that Dunning-Kruger effect where you feel like, oh yeah, no, I've definitely got this. And but it wasn't until I started to actually learn more about Kaspa that I realised I knew pretty much fuck all about Bitcoin, and it shocked me. And funny enough, I can sort of see that in some of the Bitcoiners that I speak to now, that I feel like they may definitely think they understand Bitcoin, but I don't think they understand it as much as they may let on. That's not all of them. Some of them are really, really smart people, but some of the ones that I've been talking to / arguing with, I think that they don't actually understand Bitcoin as much as they may think they do. And ironically, if they just studied Kaspa, even like I'd want people to study Kaspa, I don't want them just to blindly get into it and just because, like you said, it's not about pumping bags. It's about you found something really cool and I want to share this with the world because this is quite revolutionary and it could change the world if enough people adopt it. And that's the sort of goal behind it. But I really want people, especially Bitcoiners, certainly Bitcoiners or anyone who just thinks that it is a shit coin, I want them to study it because I then want them to at least because when they start studying it, they may go into studying it thinking, well, I'm going to find a fault in this and then I can clap back at the Caspians. But what will probably happen is they'll realise that there isn't actually any fault in it. The math is good and the code is incredible and it works and it actually works really, really well. And I think after that point, you can't really go backwards. Once you've crossed that line, you can't really go backwards. And yeah, I think that's where I would love to take Bitcoiners, and that's why I think again a lot of people kill with kindness in a way, if you know what I mean. Like with what happened with you. Why do you think it's a shit coin? Let me explain to you why I don't think it's a shit coin. And then they start giving you information and feeding little things through. I think it's because people are actually quite passionate about Caspa as a tech and probably understand, because again, I think a lot of people from the Caspa community were Bitcoiners as well. And the reason we were Bitcoiners was because we believed in the vision of Bitcoin. So I think that may be the case as well. I can see Caspador's got his hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah. Thanks, man. I don't want to interrupt too much. This is difficult for me. For example, my brother, he's not 100% BTC maxi. He's I don't know. What's the English word for this? He's in love with BTC. When I told him about Kaspa, I was like, look, man, this is what Kaspa is doing. He's like, blah, 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 yada, 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 another shitcoin that is going to do whatever all other shitcoins are doing. And for the last 2 years, man, I'm struggling so much with him to tell him and to show him and to try to at least make him look into it a bit more. What I managed to achieve was having him some allocation. So he bought a bit in Kaspa, but I cannot change his mind at all. So it would be very, very great. And maybe I missed this. Sorry, Vijay. It would be very great. What would be from a Bitcoin Maxi point of view, what would be the ultimate, let's say, reason or argument why to look into Kaspa? That would be great to hear. And maybe he's listening here. I'm not sure, but I'll send him the recording as well.
Yeah, I think what convinced me was when everyone just asked, why do you think it's a shitcoin? And I literally had to go into Google and I'm like, okay, crap, it uses proof of work. Oh, crap, it's decentralized. Oh, crap, it didn't have a didn't have a pre-mine, no VC backed. I'm like, well, I really can't find a reason other than the fact it's 1/1000th the size of Bitcoin and the fact it's not Bitcoin. But I'm like, okay, critically think about it. What is a reason that Caspa will not work? And it's small. I think there is that risk there. It has a very powerful and strong community, but it's not nearly the size of Bitcoin. And so I think that is the risk. And what I see is maybe in the next few years, as it 10x's, 100x's, maybe gets to the top 10, top 5, a lot more Bitcoiners will start looking into it. Possibly the open-minded ones, at least, and maybe institutions as well. I mean, there's Ethereum ETFs, right? And so it is a possibility, and it might just be too high of or they just might not have the same risk tolerance as you or me, or I mean, I definitely don't have the same risk tolerance to put in 100% into Caspa right now, but I'm good with 10%. I'm happy with that. Other people have been in the space longer. They've put in close to 100%, which is fine because you understand it, you put in the work, you have the risk tolerance. And so I think the biggest thing is just ask him, why do you think it's a shitcoin, or what do you not like about it, instead of trying to tell him to look at it almost. It's because as he looks for reasons why it doesn't work, he may find reasons on, okay, maybe I was wrong. But that's what happened to me. I'm not sure if that's what will happen with everyone.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Yeah.
See, now I think that's a fair argument from a Bitcoiner. If they was to turn around and say, look, the tech is really good, because you have to acknowledge that it is, but it's nowhere near as big, like the hash rate is nowhere near as big as Bitcoin. I can respect that fully. I can understand that fully, and I think that's a fair argument. But yeah, like, and again, Casper isn't completely risk-free here. Like we still have to maintain, because our emission schedule, Casper's emission schedule, is a lot quicker than Bitcoin's, which may help it to some degree because it's going to have a much better stock-to-flow ratio a lot sooner. But on the same score, we really do need to think about getting the fee market to work, getting the security budget together via fees. But I think the difference I've seen with Caspians and Bitcoiners, or some Bitcoiners, or a few Bitcoiners I've spoken to, is Caspians understand the problem and understand this is what we need to achieve. Because if we don't achieve it, then yes, it's going to be a problem with the security budget. So that's why Caspador, for example, or Casplex are bringing out their L2. You've got Igra Labs bringing out their L2. I think they're actually launched on testnet today as well. So you've got these layer 2 solutions that are actually based roll-ups. So it's not parasitic L2s where they just keep the fees and you may get a few fees on the base layer. No, it actually, the base layer becomes the sequencer. So the base layer is getting a lot of fees from the L2s, which again is fantastic. But I think Caspians understand this. We need to get those fees generated. We need to get the transaction volume up. And I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good problem to deal with because we know what the problem is, so we're dealing with it head on. From speaking to some Bitcoiners, and this isn't all Bitcoiners at all, because you can't just tar everyone on the same brush, but for speaking with some Bitcoiners, I feel like they just completely ignore this problem. Either they pretend it doesn't exist, or they are just so complacent about it because don't worry about it, we've still got like 120 years till the last block's mined, which isn't actually the case. The fees on Bitcoin are going to go up considerably over the next 20 years possibly. So this is a problem that I feel needs to be addressed as a Bitcoiner. Speaking as a Bitcoiner, I feel this is a problem that does need to be addressed somewhere along the line. But like I said, I just feel like a lot of Bitcoin maxis I've spoken to just ignore this problem, whereas Caspians understand the problem, realise this is a problem, and realise this is something we need to address and are actively addressing. I can see Wolf's got his hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, my question is just, does any of these Bitcoiners actually have a merch store? Because we've got a merch store with Chris. I mean, they just tell you everything.
What the fuck, Chris? You got when did you tell me, man? Why didn't you tell me these things? How long have we been doing blockchain banter?
I've been trying to keep it a secret, man. I don't want everyone to know that I've got a merch store at rockthecaspa.com. You can go there and yes, you can pay in gas. I don't want people to know this.
I legitimately thought it was only for Nacho NFT stuff. What the hell, man?
Oh yeah, we also have a Nacho section. Go check it out. Absolutely fantastic gear there. But no, I mean, Vijay, I'd love to get your opinion on this as well. Like, is that a fair statement I've made there, or do you feel I'm being a bit biased? Because I've always got to check my biases as well.
No, I think it's, first of all, good that you're asking whether you're biased or not. I think we all need that. It's interesting because I remember a conversation with someone who's a leader in a pretty big Bitcoin company, and I asked him, "Hey, what are your thoughts on centralization issues on layer 2?" And what he said was, altcoiners need to have more faith in human innovation, roughly paraphrased. And it got me thinking. I'm like, so this big Bitcoiner, again, I love what he's doing for the community, but it seems like he doesn't have a solution. He's just like, oh, we'll figure it out. We have 100 years or whatnot. And yeah, we do have time. A lot of us will probably be dead at the time, but the whole point is to create a great monetary base layer for future generations, not like, oh, that's their problem, sucks. And I mean, that's where I didn't really feel easy with that answer. So yeah, there are some issues. Again, if Caspa does not get adopted, there is possibly going to be some issues, but I do see I mean, how many people are on this call? Like, there's a ton of people just on this call, and I see it's growing more and more each day. So I don't think it's necessarily going to be an issue. I just want to see, I guess, a little bit more adoption, bigger market cap, more miners, more nodes being operated. And at that point, I do see a lot more adoption as Bitcoiners start critically thinking. So I think we're doing a great job in at least X, right? One Medium, just asking questions like, what do you think about this? Or why do you think it's a shitcoin? Just create that open dialogue. And I think we're all doing a great job there, because that is definitely a possible issue without adoption.
Couldn't agree more. And I've always said this from the beginning. I think dialogue and having these interactions is really important. It's not always about, we're completely amazing, nothing's ever going to go wrong. I think challenging things is always a good thing, and it should always be a good thing in this space. You should always challenge things that that need to be addressed, and otherwise you don't grow and you do stagnate. And again, with Bitcoin, I just feel like the narrative keeps changing, and the only reason the narrative changes constantly, or not constantly, but has changed a fair few times, is because the bottlenecks have been acknowledged or discovered. But instead of addressing those problems, they just say, "Oh, this is a feature, and this is what Bitcoin is now." So it's like, in the beginning, Bitcoin was supposed to be a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. It was supposed to be that, and then it actually was, when there wasn't loads of users on it. And then so everyone thought, right, this is a fantastic medium of exchange. Then as time went on and Bitcoin got more popular, the bottleneck started to show. So then the narrative, instead of addressing that issue, although there was the block size wars and things like that, but instead of really addressing that issue, the narrative then changed to, oh yeah, but it's a store of value, so it's fine. And now even now the narrative's starting to change slightly from certain Bitcoiners, where Bitcoin's not supposed to be custodial for everybody, or self-custodial for everybody. It's just supposed to be a final settlement layer. And it's like, I just feel like the narrative keeps getting pushed along and keeps getting changed, and I don't like that ethos of it. I think when problems arise, they need to be addressed. Wolf, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, I was just going to say, the problem of these bottlenecks is not a new thing either. If you look at history and the amount of technologies out there and where technology started struggling. So I was watching BlackBerry the other day, the documentary, the movie about it, and it's very interesting to see where they got stuck with the amount of people that can be on a network and on a server and things, and how they solve for it. So for me, I think a big thing about this is, which is worrying, because I'm a big Bitcoiner also, and I built with Wolfie's Bar with my Bitcoin profits of 2018 in that bull run. The thing that worries me is that if you don't solve for these problems, you're going to be pushed aside in the future. It's important to actually have a mentality that things will change and things will become, there will be issues. There's going to be issues with gas as it goes on, but it's how we solve for this, or how we approach this, that's important.
100%. And I'm not saying this is Bitcoin's not going anywhere anytime soon. I don't think that at all. And I think Bitcoin will be number one for an extremely long time. So yeah, in that sort of time frame, cool, hold Bitcoin and it will go up in value, price go up. But I'm just worried about seriously the future of it, because a lot of us got into Bitcoin because of that ethos, because we wanted to be our own banks and things like that. But which is why I'm glad I found Kaspa, genuinely. Crypto investor, you've got your hand up. Go ahead.
Hi everyone, can you hear me?
Yeah, can hear you fine.
Yes. Thank you everybody for this. I'm seeing a lot of comments going on around, and all of you people were trying to address those issues. So the main issue, what I see in all these Bitcoin Max, is trying to change the narrative from one thing to another thing. Now it is store of value. Now they say that thing. Now they say this thing. The main reason they're changing is, one, as many people are saying, it will take some certain amount of time. That is one thing. The other thing is, most of these maxes, if I'm not wrong, most of these maxes were never started investing in Bitcoin from the beginning. Most of these are like who got into Bitcoin because of the price action, their asset got increased, and now they want to, push the narrative like, oh, this is it, that's it, this is a store of value now. And we need that. It's not that we don't want Bitcoin. If Bitcoin is failed, there is no crypto, like for real, because there is no more adoption in any other stuff. So we need Bitcoin. It's good. But where the problem is, like when we use peer-to-peer transaction, when we at scale throughout the world, that's when the problem comes in. And I don't know why they are not trying to address it, and they keep changing to, oh, we go to use a credit card or we use a fiat, and then the duffel bag argument. Oh my God, I don't know what to say it for that, but and some say like L2 lightning and all, and they say like, okay, we have some more time for some other solution to come in and pitch in to solve this problem. I mean, these narratives keep on changing, but the true fact is there is a problem and people are not acknowledging it. That's where I don't really understand why they can't understand that there is a problem first in case. And I myself don't understand like how to even convince these people, like what else narrative to say. I don't know. And people are trying a lot. And I also did a lot. I'm not officially blue starred it, and I don't think I will do it anytime soon. But I don't know. And you people are doing a great job in trying to convince, and wish you luck and all.
Appreciate that, man. Thank you. And I do totally agree with you. I think a lot of it may be driven by people that weren't in Bitcoin at the beginning. And I'll hold my hands up all day long. I probably would have been those people, and probably was one of those people, because I did get into Bitcoin in 2018, I think it was. But so I was a late adopter in terms of that. And again, I thought I sort of had that Dunning-Kruger effect. I thought I understand Bitcoin because I've learned a bit about it. It's not until you actually, again, research Kaspa if you want to learn more about Bitcoin. It really does open up your mind. And I think if I hadn't have done that, I possibly would have been the same thing, because I would have followed along with the narrative, because you hear the narrative and you go, well, yeah, I suppose that makes sense. We're a store of value now, so that's cool. That's what we are. But it's not living up to the original dream, which is what I want to push for, because me personally, and this is just me being selfish, I want to have something that I can transact with that is completely permissionless, but I can do it quickly. Like that's my thing. I want to be in control of my own money, and I want to have that permissionless aspect of money.
100%. I agree with you, Chris.
Sorry.
Just real quick, going back onto crypto investors' point. A lost Bitcoin replied with a lot of the rejection is based on emotional attachment dash ego, not actual arguments against CAS, which I wholeheartedly believe it is. I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts?
I totally agree to what you're saying, and I do believe whatever is happening is not just um, because of the price action of Caspa. If Caspa was already in top 10, like let's say 200 billion market cap, I don't think none of those arguments will be made ever. And the other point is like right now they keep saying like, okay, we need adoption, and I do agree that I understand more Bitcoin after reading Caspa. That's for sure.
I was going to say it's very similar to, I don't know, talking to people who don't own any Bitcoin to even convince them about Bitcoin. I realize a lot of them don't even realize what's going on with the monetary system right now. They're like, oh, things are getting more expensive. Do you see the game last night? Like, they literally just don't care, or it hasn't hit them hard enough to even figure it out, even though 40% of new money has been printed, since COVID. So it's almost the same concept, and that's why I feel like it's almost easier to talk to Bitcoiners about Caspa than it is talking to everyday people about Caspa, just because they, at least some Bitcoiners understand the problem, and then some of them are critical, some of them are open-minded, because that's how they even got to Bitcoin in the first place. If they were not open-minded, they would have just been like, oh, it doesn't produce cash flow, it's a scam. But because they are open-minded, they have that in them somewhere, Now we just have to try to convince them or show them like, hey, it's not necessarily the perfect solution.
Totally agree with that, BJ. It's a really good point as well. I just want to go to Maximus because he's had his hand up, and then Juan, I'll come to you afterwards. Maximus, what's your question?
Oh yeah, I mean, I just joined, so I didn't really get, the previous topics. But I just wanted to say it's really interesting to see. I feel like this sudden explosion of Caspa and Bitcoin debates are happening, and so much engagement is going on with our whole community, and it's good to see how strong the community is. And it's like, there's so many Bitcoiners who just automatically write off Caspa because they don't even want to look into it. And even one of the guys, I forgot his name, but he literally said Caspa is an enemy to Bitcoin, which just goes to show he's threatened by Caspa. But in my opinion, it's like the both will coexist. There's no one or the other, in my opinion. And if you once actually just open your mind up and just look into what Caspa is, the raw code and the math behind it, the block tag in real time, you'll learn to see like this is not some fugazi. This is not just thin air, money in thin air. This is real. This is real pure energy being stored into the block tag from the outside. And I feel like I was going to say on one of the spaces, we all come from the same place. Like, why are we arguing? We all love the fundamentals of Bitcoin, and that's what got us into Caspa in the first place. And so we're arguing against each other, and you guys are literally using the same FUD that I've seen on Bitcoin for the last decade. And it's like, oh, it needs to be adopted. Okay, well, you could have said that about Bitcoin. Many people said that about Bitcoin. Oh, look at all the miners are falling off and the hash rate is dropping. Same thing with Bitcoin, right? Like literally all the same FUD. And it's eerie to see. It's almost like, a time loop of me being transported in the last 7 years of seeing what went on with Bitcoin is happening with Caspa. And now it's like, I just feel so comfortable, and my conviction has grown to even like tenfold, hundredfold in the last year, just seeing how strong our community is. And we don't need to convince anybody because it's going to happen no matter what. In my opinion, they're going to come into Caspo when they deserve it. And the more we spread the word, the better. But it'll take that one instance of you just looking into it, you know? That's all you have to do is actually spend the time to look into it instead of just deeming it as a shitcoin. And that's all I have to say.
Couldn't agree more with you, and I think it will come. I think that's exactly what will happen. More and more Bitcoiners, I think, will start. I mean, VJ's done an incredible job bringing over a lot of Bitcoiners anyway, and I think that will actually cause a sort of an effect there, a positive flywheel. More Bitcoiners will join, more Bitcoins, and again, it's not like we're saying go out and buy it. We're saying just look into it. Just literally, just look in, study it. We don't want you to buy it outright. We want you to study it first. But a very good point. Juan, sorry, you're up on stage. How you doing?
Yeah, I appreciate it. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, can hear you fine.
Hold on. Great. I wanna acknowledge I jumped on when Vijay was. I apologize if I'm saying his name wrong, but when you're in your story, that for me was a big moment, like the whole back and forth with Vision, because for me, like I've held Caspa for a little over a year. I found it in about April, May of last year. And I've always been kind of a background guy. I wasn't on social. I created an X account last year just to kind of find out a little bit more about Caspa. And I kind of stayed in the background this entire time, right? But I really just think that visual, like you're seeing, I commented on like when you called Caspa shitcoin, I commented on it and said, okay, the suit showed its true colors. Like that's the experience I've been getting over the past year and a half as I've been traveling to, I've gone to a lot of Bitcoin conferences over the past year. I'm in Miami. I'm pretty well connected here. I know, a handful of Bitcoin maxis in this area. In my experience, whenever I would bring it up, it was just like I would get shut down. But like seeing what played out with Visha like it sparked something in me where I was like, how am I not like I'm not being who I really need to be for the people around me. So my closest friends are all Bitcoin Caspa people, and they understand why I hold it. For me, it's not about money. It's not about it's not about number go up. That's not the reason I even got into Bitcoin in the first place. For me, there's just a deeper rooted thing here, right? I'm not a technical person. I've built businesses. I've been pretty successful in my life. Like my life is good. I'm cool being in the background. I'm cool not having to share everything that's going on with me. But seeing that play out, I think that created a catalyst, a shift in this movement, right? So I wanted to acknowledge you for like stepping up and like going through your process and like doing it in front of the world per se, right? Because it's gonna just do a lot of things. And then what I wanted to say to like who was it, crypto investment, you said you don't want to you don't want to do the blue check. The only reason I'm on here and I have a blue check is because of what's happened in the past month. It's the only reason. And I know that like when I think about the people that I'm impacted in my life and how I'm letting them know, like I've been using Caspa for the past year. In my family, I have a 12-year-old son who's on the spectrum, autistic. He doesn't really talk all that much, but like we don't need to talk that much. We kind of understand each other. He buys he likes playing Roblox. And what's that other game? He plays, video games, and whenever he wants to buy something, he buys something in Caspa. And it's like we understand why we use Caspa. And we also have Bitcoin. And I let him know, hey, Bitcoin, what do we do with Bitcoin? Like the narrative with Bitcoin is it's digital gold. We're not going to sell our Bitcoin. Bitcoin is how we preserve our wealth long term, right? But as this is played out, I've just noticed that for me, um, it's making a major shift. And what's beautiful about this movement is that Caspa is growing organically. And I do think that this is going to be on an individual basis, right? Like we're seeing a shift in the movement here on X's and in social, but this really is about like, hey, are you being in integrity and true to yourself every time you talk to someone, right? Like it should come up organically. There really is no need to convince anybody, but people will feel you. They'll see you navigate the world different, So I'm just grateful to be to be on here. And grateful to connect with you guys. Like I said, I'm new to this. I was totally comfortable in my life being off of social, but it's just important more now than ever that we start sharing what this is. You guys have acknowledged the technical aspects of it, and I'm with all of it. It's pretty clear to see if you're just an open-minded person and you're willing to look at things for what they are. When you remove ego from everything and you just see things for what they are, a curious person asks questions. And then like my experience over the past year going to these Bitcoin conferences is like, well, what about this lightning thing? How's it supposed to scale? And people would be like, oh, just believe there is no second best. And like, have you guys heard about Caspa? Oh, it's a shit coin. Like getting dismissed like that, kept me in my own little circle. And again, like my people transformed around me. But I think it's right now is a more important time than ever to not hold that in, not keep it in, and share as much as you can, because this is organically going to it is going to explode. And that's the beautiful thing. That's one of the things I love about Caspa people is like every time I meet somebody who understands Caspa, they understand Bitcoin. Like not one time have I talked to anybody who understands Caspa and sees what's happening in the community that doesn't understand Bitcoin. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that little tidbit in there. Appreciate you guys.
Really appreciate that, man. And I thought you touched on a really good point there. It did, and I think it does take a lot of bollocks for VJ to, because you were part of the sort of Bitcoin army side of things as well, like heavy Bitcoiners. And you sort of stuck your head above the parapet and said, well, I actually looked into Caspa and I think it's quite good tech. Like because there's it's a lot of peer pressure to not say anything like that because there is no second best. There's a lot of peer pressure to not say that. And again, you lost a lot of followers thanks to that. But luckily to the Caspa bot side of things, you gained all those followers back. I mean, we're all bots here anyway. This whole space is full of bots. The only real person is Levendi, and he's married to blockchain Banter. Crypto Invest, you've got your hand up. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So That was a good comment. Like the reason I didn't do blue tick is because whatever the amount I do for blue tick goes to Caspa buying to my bag. So that was one of the reason why I don't do it. And I became vocal recently because of listening to all these comments and this stuff. If you look at it, my profile is like 2 years old or something like that, but I was never active on X. And I was never active on X and never did any of these kind of comments on this stuff. So just to touch base on one aspect, why people are crashing out is because now there are so many coins or tokens, whatever you call, there are so many, and there were so many false promises given from the like after Bitcoin came in. So that was, I think, one of the reason why people don't look into it and just dismiss it as a, oh, this is another shitcoin. That is one other main argument, because they truly believe that, oh, there is no second best. That's it. And like I gave one of the comments like, oh, when you have TCP/IP, why do you still use some kind of this thing? So even digital telephony or like any of the old internet also was on TCP/IP. TCP/IP, it's Bitcoin is one technology which works on TCP/IP. It's not the same thing. I don't know why they got into this one. Some people said they will use UDP. No, UDP, that's not the thing. Kaspa is another thing that's again going into the same internet. So it's all a part of the internet. You can use Bitcoin, you can use Kaspa, you can use any other thing within the internet, which still uses the same TCP/IP protocol. I mean, that was one other valid argument. I didn't find any like to say just because it is old, it doesn't mean that, oh, it has to be the best. No, there is no other technology in the past that has never been replaced by with a new scalable solution. There is nothing in past throughout the human evolution. There is some other technology that always overtook the previous one, enhancing it. You get good user experience, end-to-end delay, reduce the delay, throughput increase, quality of experience increase, all of these stuff. Every technology brings in, and we have to adapt it according to the moving environment. We cannot keep saying like, oh, I'll still use the old scooter to go on when when I can go on an airplane or like any other like modern day transportation systems. We cannot do that. uh, I don't know, like maybe, as I said, because there are so many coins right now, and the trust has been going down and down from the Bitcoin point of view or Bitcoin Max's point of view. So they kind of dismiss it just in the first glance. I think even Vijay said that in the first time when he came up and said, oh, this is another shitcoin. And then people started saying like, why? Tell us why. And he was curious enough to learn. That's one thing. You have to be curious enough to learn something. When you're simply denying it, why do you deny something without even knowing about it? That's one thing. The other thing, when I try to convince my friends, like, buy Caspa, do this thing, they were like, why? It's not in many of our exchanges that we buy. And why should I buy? That's one other comment I get. I said, like, okay, it's proof of work. It's going to take some time. There are no smart contracts. My argument is like, there is no smart contracts. That's why people are still buying it off the counter, over the counter, and then they are increasing their bags. If you see the top holder list, they keep on buying it. I don't know how much they are buying it. People keep on dwelling about the wallets, how many coins are going into each wallet every time. You see that there is a pattern over there, and it's all speculation. I do believe that it's speculation, but what else you can give for this one? There is no smart contracts. That's why people are waiting to list on big exchanges. That's one thing I think mainly. I do believe there is some lobbying going on, but I don't have proof of that, but I do believe there will be some kind of lobbying not to list Caspa.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense that there very well could be, but again, it is speculation. But I think again, this works in Caspa's favour to a degree, because Caspa's done such incredible moves with limited exchanges, which is, again, I think it's a fantastic thing in a way, because if you're getting into Caspa, it's because you actually want to get into it. And what's the reason for wanting to get into it? Well, hopefully it's because you've studied it enough to realise that this is groundbreaking tech. So I think it works in that favour as well. Everyone would obviously love more tier ones to get listed. Kraken are just absolutely awesome. If you can use them, because they listed Caspa for 0 upfront fees. So big shout out to them.
Yeah, Kraken is really good. I do have a Kraken. I do buy on Kraken. I used to use Change Now, do the swap and all those things. And I thought like at least 10 to 15 people to use that route when the Kraken was not there. So we used to always buy something on Robinhood or anything USDC, then do Change Now, swap it, and then get it into their Caspian wallets. And I tell them not to leave them on the exchange, get into the wallet, because it's still evolving. So that's one thing I always recommend people to do. Don't leave them in the exchange, get it into your wallets. Yeah, as long as like, even if anybody reads about Casper like at least half a day or something, there are many tools to use it. I don't think they will have any strong objection to why not get into Casper. I didn't see that why actually.
No, if you want to buy
Yeah,
Caspa, you're gonna figure out a way to buy it. Just because it's not listed on Coinbase or Binance is not gonna stop you from buying it, right? And also the limited exchanges, I guess it's not even that limited, but it would cause a supply shock if everybody, takes their Caspa off of these exchanges, and we all coming to the same exchanges to go buy Caspa. Essentially, the lower the liquidity, the increase in volatility, right, to the upside. So, anyway, I mean, the whole Coinbase Binance thing is we don't need them. I mean, they need us. So, in my opinion, they want to list Caspa when it's timely for them, and I don't think it's going to be when Caspa's at this price. So, I'm not banking on that listing doing much, honestly. I mean, you can see Tau how it got listed on Coinbase and Binance. It didn't really affect the price that much.
I totally agree on that one. So basically, the ones who are losing out is not the coin, not the listings. The ones who are losing out is the person who's not investing now.
Yeah, and I wanted to share this because, like I mentioned earlier, that I'm in Miami. I have a lot of Bitcoin maxi friends. I'd never classified myself as a maxi, but I have a lot of Bitcoin, a lot of Caspa. And I can tell you this, I can't put any names out there. There are people. I've circled back around since being inspired by Visha, and I've had these conversations like, hey, you know what? I didn't sit down and I didn't really tell you what I really thought, and like I've had heart to heart with a couple really good friends, and they're like, okay, cool. And over the past month, I got a couple text messages this morning like, hey, I got some, right? Like, so trust me, people, Bitcoin maxis they're very aware of Kaspa, and they are buying Kaspa. And maybe it starts with them, but I just wanted to throw that out there. Like, these guys are buying Kaspa. It's happening. And it's just a matter of time before these exchanges do list them. And we can speculate on all that. Who knows? But I do agree that it doesn't. We don't need them, because like, if you understand what Kaspa is, just like early BTC, you're gonna find a way to get it.
That's awesome that you're doing that. Make sure you screenshot and make it anonymous and post it. I think it's good to see adoption, even though it's worked for me. I think it's great, just showing that, hey, you're not the only one buying Caspa. There's more Bitcoiners who are looking at Caspa. I think really feels the adoption, at least on X.
I'm gonna take you to heart on that. I definitely should.
Make it anonymous, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to 100%. 100%.
It's Michael Saylor, then don't.
Of course not. No, where am I going to expose that for sure?
Casper Silver, I'll see you up here. How are you doing?
Doing all right. I don't know if I could speak too long. I got a crying baby in my arms trying to get her to fall asleep. But I just wanted to kind of add a little bit to the conversation of that peer pressure to kind of like challenge the status quo. When I first started my channel, I was constantly always saying things just like how technology always improves and like it doesn't just stagnate and stay the same. And I always just thought to myself like, am I just crazy, the only one that thinks this? I'm young, and there's a lot of older Bitcoiners who are just saying these things like Bitcoin is TCP and all that kind of stuff, whatever. And and there's no second best. And I just realized that like there's a lot of us that are actually thinking alike. Like we're not alone. Like you're not crazy if you're thinking outside the box, and that's why a lot of people say Caspa is an IQ test, because like literally it's just challenging the status quo. Are we really satisfied with just like letting Bitcoin turn into this just a honeypot for these huge exchanges and ETFs and Michael Saylor treasury companies? Are we okay with that, letting that happen, and then living on a layer two standard? I don't know. To me, that just sounds centralized and like completely opposite to like what Bitcoin came in the space to actually fight against. And it's interesting to see how like Bitcoiners are constantly not staying consistent anymore, and now the narrative is like shifting again to this world where it's just like, yeah, self custody doesn't even matter anymore. And I'm like, well, if that's the case, Caspa's going to be a walk in the park when we're trying to explain it to people, because like that is foundational. There's a lot of foundational things, and that's why like with people who are claiming to be Bitcoiners, I like to always ask them like, okay, do you value self-sovereignty, and would you rather live in a world where layer twos is more of a choice rather than a requirement? I mean, if you can ask them that question, and if they're a true Bitcoiner, they would say, well, yeah, like I value that stuff. And so it could spark that curiosity to actually dig a little bit deeper, because that's the future that I want to fight for, is a future where like I truly have full self-sovereignty in everything that I do. And I don't have to uh, just decide to use cash because, oh my goodness, like my coin doesn't let me use it. And so, I still have a very, very small Bitcoin position compared to my Casper position, but I honestly don't use the Bitcoin at all. It's literally just sitting in a cold storage wallet, and I have no incentives to use it. I have no incentives to teach people how to use it, because it's just like, if you want to buy it, you can buy it. It's cool. But in the long run, I mean, like, I thought we were really here for, changing the actual system rather than just kind of like adopting, kind of just remaking it. We're just kind of just remaking a similar version to it, especially if we live on a layer two standard like they claim Lightning Network is supposedly going to fulfill. And a lot of it is just hope. I mean, they don't even really know. There's no evidence of Lightning actually being adopted like they claim it will be. So, yeah, that's kind of what I want to open up there. And then I heard about exchanges. Uh, when people complain about like there's barely any exchanges for Caspa, I just tell them it's a bullish problem. The reason why there's no exchanges for Caspa is because Caspa decided to do something that like 99% of cryptos don't care about, which is be fair launched. That's why a lot of us are even here in the first place. I think that's one of the most foundational things that made Caspa what it is. If it wasn't fair launch, I literally would not be here right now. Like that was deal breaker for me. Because when I found Caspa, I was in the middle of becoming a Bitcoin maxi pretty much. And when I found that and saw that Caspa was fair launched and it just did not have a company behind it or anything like that, I was like, all right, well, that deserves obviously something to look at, because no project does that anymore. And so, they always claim that like Satoshi and Bitcoin has like an immaculate conception. But truly, like Caspa has an immaculate conception, because we have a person who's public, a founder, and he could have chose to take in the easy route. He could have chose the VC route, make quick bucks, and just benefit off of Caspa really early on right away. I mean, he could have just chosen that very easy path, but he decided, you know what? Hey, let's actually just focus on the fundamentals. Let's build the foundation for the future. Let's not care about smart contracts in the early stages, because that's one thing. If you read his articles, the whole crypto market was all into NFT smart contracts, and Cas was over here saying, well, we're just gonna scale, and become faster, and in their eyes, they're like, what's the point? Like, who's gonna even want this? But truly, like, they didn't realize, the devs and Jonathan didn't realize what kind of movement they actually started here. So I don't know. I really think Caspa is just the continuation, bringing back to life what Bitcoin actually started and what seems to be lost from a lot of Bitcoiners.
I totally agree with
May,
that.
may I chime in a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey guys, first time caller, long time listener. No, I'm just joking around. I just want to say first and foremost that I just love this community. This community rocks. You guys are awesome. I think we all have just such similar mindsets and outlooks on life, and especially when it comes to crypto and everything. And I don't know. I just kind of wanted to say that like I just love Caspa. I love everything it is. I love what it's doing. I the way I look at Caspa is it's everything. Obviously, everything Bitcoin was supposed to be. Yes, yes, and yes. But one thing I just find interesting is just how everyone's so bullish on Bitcoin. Everyone loves Bitcoin. Bitcoin's the future and all that kind of stuff. But I just don't get why everyone's so bullish when like guys like Larry Fink, Michael Saylor, and all of these like big talking heads, even Trump. I don't mind Trump, to be perfectly honest, but that's another conversation for another day. I just don't know why everybody's so like gung ho that the people that are in control of the system that we despise for everything it's done to us and our families and done to this world, like why everyone's so like, oh, but it's Bitcoin, we're going to use Bitcoin and everything. It's like, I don't want to use Bitcoin. I've read all of the Bitcoin books. I've read the big print. I've read the Bitcoin dollar. I've read the block wars. I'm trying to remember the other ones I've read. I've read all of these books and I've done all this research. And again, I'm no genius by any means. I'm just like an everyday guy, but I'm just not convinced by Bitcoin's outcome, what Bitcoin's going to inevitably turn into. And I just think that there's a reason, like the way I look at Bitcoin is kind of like a walled garden, and as it goes down the line, as we go down the line through time, it's just, everyone is talking about how it's going to be so expensive to use the L1. So we're going to have to use the L2. It's like, what's the point of that? Like, I don't get the point of it. And what I love about like, okay, here's another thing is when it comes to the whole banks, everyone, the banks is like, I have some credit cards and I have some debit cards, but one of my debit cards, I have like a $5,000 limit on this one debit card. And I was just the other day, I was trying to make a big purchase and it was like, oh, you have a $5,000 limit. You can only do that per day. And it's just like, why? Like, why? Like, why can't I spend $5,001 on this debit card? And it's because there's a authoritative figure that's preventing me from doing it. And I would have to call them and get approval. I don't want approval. I want peer-to-peer cash that I can just give to whoever, whenever I want. And I don't want to have to fucking deal with any of that. I don't like it. And I think Bitcoin scares me. I'm not going to lie. I understand what it was meant to be in the beginning, and that's what I love about it, and that's why I love Caspa so much. But there's something not right with Bitcoin. And also, finally, I would just like to say that in my research on Bitcoin, because I keep trying to like convince myself it's the play for the future in regards to like what I value and everything, and I'm just not convinced. So I mean, hey, I'm just one guy, don't shoot me, it's all good if you think different. But I just want to encourage everybody to really look at the book Hijacking Bitcoin as well. I know it's by a guy named Roger Ver, who's like a total, he's kind of a loon. I agree with that. But this guy, Roger Ver and Steve Patterson, wrote this book, another Bitcoin book that I encourage everyone to read, because I think there's a lot of really good information in it as to why Bitcoin is what it is today. And not saying Roger Ver is amazing, because I know his backstory with Bitcoin Cash and all that. And to be fair, I don't really know too much about the guy, but I read the book and it's really good and I highly recommend it. Thank you so much for your time, everybody. I appreciate y'all. And let's keep fighting the good fight, because I also think that it's inevitable that people are going to come after Caspa. And I think people are going to sweat Caspa, especially the people that are trying to run, DeFi L2, DeFis and L2s on Ethereum and Bitcoin. I think they're going to really come after us at some point. So I don't know. Stay strong, one love, and hope everyone has a great week. So thank you for letting me speak. I appreciate it. And again, it was just a rant. I just wanted to rant to you guys. So anyway, thank you.
No, I appreciate it, Sam. And I think guys like you, I really do believe that a lot of people in Caspa are coming from the same sort of drive as people like you, where we love Bitcoin. We love the ethos of Bitcoin originally, what it was supposed to be, not the narrative that it is now, which is why we love Kaspa. It's not like, again, just forget the branding, forget Bitcoin, forget Kaspa as a branding. Just look at the tech and you start to see that this tech here, which is Kaspa, is actually the vision that we all got into in the beginning. It's the one that we want. It fulfills what it's supposed to fulfill. And I think more and more, I think a lot of the community is built off of the back of people like that, which I think is a really strong thing, because look where Bitcoin got because of that sort of ethos. People got into it because of that. Bitcoin got to where it is now because of that drive, because people really did appreciate permissionless transacting and being self-sovereign. And I think that's where we are now with Kaspa. I think a lot of people are like that with Kaspa now. I also wanted to just touch on the point that Kaspa Silver said about the fact that Kaspa is fair launched, and that's a massive thing. And I think what's really good about that as well is Kaspa being fair launched now, well, not now, but 3.5 years ago, is the fact that 3.5 years ago, like, crypto was a big thing. It's relatively big thing, much bigger than it was when Bitcoin fair launched. So really, you could argue that Kaspa's more fair launched because there were more miners ready to go to get in on mining Kaspa. Whereas when Bitcoin first launched, who the hell knew about crypto? Like, literally no one. So the only people that were mining it were the people that knew about it. And I think that's why Kaspa actually got such a good coin spread. It's just, when you look at Kaspa and how it was designed, the architecture behind it, and even the implementation of launching it like they did, everything just makes sense. Even just the K-heavy hash algo, just to prevent ASICs getting in first, but making it ASIC friendly enough that when ASICs do come online, it's really good and energy efficient. It's like everything has just been thought about. And I've never spoken to Jonathan before at all, but from what I've heard from people that know him and have spoken to him, he is just living like his whole game is chess. Like, he lives a million miles and moves ahead of everybody else. And so I think, again, that really does help Kaspa in the long run. And I personally think that, given a long enough time frame, like, Bitcoin's not going to get knocked off the top spot anytime soon. Like, it really isn't. And Bitcoin's here to stay for a very long time. But it does have problems and it does have issues that I feel really do need to be solved. I genuinely believe that if Bitcoin doesn't address these problems, and possibly even, I don't know how this could look, devs would know this, but whether Kaspa could become like an L2 to Bitcoin to help it scale. I don't know if that's possible. I don't know if that's a thing. I don't even know how you'd feed fees back to Bitcoin's L1, because it can't. It's not quick enough. But if there was something that Bitcoin could do that could integrate Kaspa some way to help it, then they could work together. I think if it doesn't figure it out, eventually Kaspa will replace it, because it's just the logical next step. And again, not anytime soon, but I think that's a strong possibility. Unless Bitcoin, and I don't want to see Bitcoin go. I love Bitcoin, which is why I really, really want to push Bitcoiners when they just like, don't worry about it, it's 120 years time problem. And it's not. It's a lot quicker than they think. And I don't want this change of narrative constantly just because we don't want to deal with the problem. I want people to deal with the problem. But really, Kaspa has dealt with that problem. It just needs to be adopted, and it just needs to get those transaction volumes up. And again, that's another thing. Hash rate could actually grow very quickly on Kaspa, because people are going to, there's caveats everywhere, but if Kaspa does get adopted, and if these the transaction volume comes onto Kaspa's network, it's going to be very profitable for miners to point hash rate at Kaspa. On the same score, it may start dropping. The fees for Bitcoin miners may start dropping. So as so they'll drop off their hash rate there. They'll stop their miners because they're not profitable anymore. As that starts coming down and Caspers start coming up, it may get to a point where they become very similar in hash rate. And then it gets to a point of, well, what's the point of Bitcoin if we can just do everything on Caspa and it's at equal hash rate, so it's just as secure? That's, I mean, that is such a projection there, but it's a possible scenario, and I don't want that. I actually want Bitcoin to survive, but it needs to sort itself out, personally, in my opinion.
Yeah, I really like what you said there, and I agree. I guess it's not that I don't like Bitcoin. It's just I don't really trust any of the talking heads of Bitcoin, like the top guys. And I don't know. I just personally think that it's in the people that it's the reason why we got into this space and into like a Caspa and crypto is because we don't trust the people in power. And I think that Bitcoin in its current form is it's more convenient for the people in power for it to remain exactly how it is today. And that's just kind of where I stand. I guess it's more of like a not really backed by too much, but I mean, just based on the research I've done, but I just think it's I think Bitcoin in its current form is convenient for the people, the exact people that we all kind of, despise, or maybe it's just me that despises the Larry Finks of the world and stuff like that. But that's just what I think. Anyway, I appreciate it again. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome.
Hey, I'd like to jump in here. I know nobody here knows who I am, but this is my first time jumping in a Caspa space. I've been in it since about 2023. The fair launch is so important because it actually gives Caspa the property of money. I think if a crypto doesn't fair launch, it can't actually be money. And so I find it strange how, 99.9% of the space, it's always like VCs with all these pre-allocations. Like, that's not money. It's like a company issuing like a fake stock that's not regulated to raise funds. And then on top of that, they don't actually believe in the longevity of what they're building. Otherwise, why wouldn't you launch it like Caspa? Like, if the technology is that good and it speaks for itself and it's what people actually need, you don't need to actually do anything except put it out there. And I think that's why Caspa is where it is today. In terms of Bitcoin, I'm a believer that it's kind of in the process of being hijacked. The fact that all of these, what would we call them, like our elites that kind of oversee this system are all kind of getting behind it, gives me an unsettling feeling personally. I think that if the fee problem with Bitcoin doesn't get solved and we just let it keep getting pushed into these centralized walled gardens that all the elites want to put it in, it's going to end up being a disaster, in my opinion. The dream would be if we could somehow link Bitcoin and Caspa and kind of return Bitcoin to where it was supposed to be. I mean, I know that's like a pipe dream, but Caspa is, essentially, to me, it's like crypto after 2020, I think, went to a really, really dark place. Like, we're all in this dark cave, and Caspa's like this beacon that's near the exit. And like, it's going to take regular people like us getting informed, getting educated, and spreading the word to actually build this out. Like, we have to redo the organic grassroots movement of Bitcoin with Caspa. And I mean, it's going to be an uphill battle, but we have the technology. I mean, I've been waiting my entire life in this space to find something like Caspa. I've been in crypto since 2017, and there's never been anything that I've held in crypto where I was like, all right, I could just hold this for a really long time and like I have complete faith in it. I've never had that feeling, and nothing ever gave me the fundamentals I was looking for. There's always something with a red flag, but Caspa's really just the one. And it's hard to talk to other people and say that, and they just think you're just some cultist trying to pump your bag. But it really is the opportunity for us to have an electronic cash system that's decentralized and unable to be controlled by these giant centralized entities. And we really need to like push this, because this is really the only opportunity in crypto to fulfill that kind of philosophical vision in the first place. What else do I want to add to this? I don't know. I mean, that's really it. I think like we got to keep doing what we're doing, and honestly, the growth this network has had has been incredible. I mean, you know, it's not that easy to go from 0 to 3 billion and get thousands of people that are all in unison and all, you know, educated on what they're talking about. And it's just crazy to me how we can talk to Bitcoiners and it's like we understand their asset more than they do. Like, I think that's scary personally. I mean, it's like we have to be the like the cowboys that lasso Bitcoin people back to reality and what they were supposed to believe, you know. But anyway, yeah, just thanks for letting me do that little monologue. Just wanted to throw some of my thoughts out there. Keep doing what you're doing, guys.
Absolutely love that analogy though, with the we're the cowboys and we need to round up the Bitcoiners to get them back on track. And I totally agree with it. Again, it just seems that the Caspa space or the Caspa community seems so much more passionate about driving adoption, not because they want price go up. Like, price go up is brilliant. There's no doubt about that. Everybody wants that, but it's not the main goal. The main goal is we've got this thing that can be ours. It's putting the power back in the people's hands again, like Bitcoin originally did, and now it's coming back to us again via Kaspa because it can actually do this. Kaspa, I can see you've got your hand up, but I'd like to go to Elliot first, and then I'll certainly come back to you. But Elliot, I can see you've come up here, and it would be great to get your opinion on this because obviously you're actually researching into possible Oracle solutions on Kaspa as well.
Hey, I hope you can hear me well. I mainly wanted to back up some of Casper Silver's arguments, which I find very interesting on the philosophy. For a bit of context, I got into, I think I was watching his videos before starting my thesis with Jonathan. Found Casper very interesting because of mainly the mathematical rigor that I kind of observe is lacking in a lot of white papers, and like Solana is nowhere near as rigorous academically as Caspa, and a lot even in oracles where I find very important points that are just set aside. So yeah, I wanted to say that like mainly the reason I'm here and I really wanted to work for Caspa and at least get a grant for now, putting aside the fact that I really enjoy Caspa and its values, is the fact that I have a lot of trust and kind of maybe admire is a strong word, but I look up to Jonathan based on like his approach to research, the rigor, which yeah, I did math studies, so I've always been used to like you have to prove stuff and you can't just make empty claims, which is why now on these Bitcoin maxis saying stuff like money converges to one, I just don't really like these kind of claims. There is no like rigor, no backing of such claims. So yeah, more so than like following Bitcoin ethos and all that, I really like the approach of trying to tackle problems that haven't been solved, like MEV. People see flashbots as a solution, which is it's just like hiding the problem, trying to add a layer on top. And so I really like the idea of building a layer one with everything into the consensus, and like all the solutions within, instead of trying to like patch solutions in okay, let's set it aside and see later on and create maybe flashbots to bundle transactions. So yeah, for me it's the philosophy of the research, which I find very interesting. Jonathan is very, very smart, and I have a lot to learn from him, which is why I really enjoy working with him, and the community, of course, which like a lot of good questions, engagement, and all that. So I love the community. So yeah, that was just a small rant from my side.
Really appreciate that, Elliot, and again, appreciate all the work you're doing for Caspa and researching oracles and med resistance as well. Really, it's guys like you that sort of a lot of us rely on, because you can really get into the technical details and understand them and break them down for us. Because, like me, for example, I could never get into that because I wouldn't understand it. So when we say don't trust, verify, I try to I try to verify it as much as I humanly can, but it's not the way I was built. I need other people that can do it better than I can to explain it to me and to verify it for me. So, and it's people like you guys that are doing that, and I really appreciate that. Which is why I also like going to the Bitcoin community and saying look into Caspa, because it's not just like, because there's some extremely smart people in the Bitcoin community as well. And when I say look into Caspa, I'm actually saying like research it, and if you find a flaw, let us know, because I'm there's something I could definitely miss. But what I really love about Caspa is everybody that's tried that. I mean, there's even a Bitcoin bounty, isn't there? Caspa Facts put up to disprove the white paper, to disprove Caspa's white paper. I really want people to try and do that, and I think you're obviously along the same sort of lines. Like, things need to be proven, which is, again, if you've got the skills to actually be able to prove it. So when you read like the Ghost Egg white paper and stuff, to you it mathematically is sound. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is like it follows what I've been used to in my studies, which is like everything is proven, it makes sense, it's well explained. So there are no, that's why the bounty, I feel nobody's going to find an error, because you would need like such a good understanding of everything to be able to prove something wrong. Like, I've read the white paper several times, and I know there's still stuff I miss. I wouldn't be able to prove anything wrong right now. I still rely on the fact that, okay, I've read the proof and it sounds good, but I'd need an even better knowledge, in-depth knowledge of certain areas of math to actually come up with, okay, did they make assumptions that don't hold? But based on how Jonathan does research, I just can probably guess that it won't be the case, because even I'll try to make assumptions which he's like, okay, no, we don't want to make that. We want to make a theorem where like if you have no assumptions, or the less possible assumptions, then like there is no vector of attack. Just like Bitcoin makes an assumption on the network latency, which is 10 minutes. You making this assumption is like it's a big risk. That's why I find Dagnite so beautiful. So yeah, no, it is very like mathematically, it's very beautiful, and I personally don't think anyone's going to be able to find a flaw. I mean, if they can, they should probably like do their own crypto. And yeah, I'm also trying to, as you said, like to understand some knowledge, to understand some things more in depth, in order to like break this barrier of technical and trying to break it down, because I've been looking into crypto for less than a year now, so there are many areas which I don't understand well. For me, the reason I'm here is just because the math is fun and interesting, and being able to work on problems where I'm like, the crypto space has a lot of intelligent people, but none of them have managed to like make a basic good oracle. I mean, it's not basic, right? It's a complicated problem, but the solutions are so bad that I'm like, how do these guys have PhDs? They say they've thought of, okay, yeah, we've thought of this, but then they just make empty claims of market participants should behave like this. Yeah, prove it. Like, there are no proofs in your papers. It's just bad. So it's kind of a challenge for me to come in, not know that much, and try to achieve something alongside someone who I think is probably one of the most intelligent in the space, at least from what I've seen so far. So yeah, it's a very nice experience. It's very fun.
Elliot, I cannot wait for your Oracle solutions to come out, because they will be the best in the space by the looks of it. I really can't wait to meet you at the Berlin event, the Casper experience in Berlin. You're going to smash it. I can't wait to meet you and try to understand you as much as possible. You might have to break it down to me or use crayons, but I will get there, I promise you. But yeah, really can't wait to meet you, man. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, thanks a lot. It's also a pleasure for me to meet a bit of people from the community, because right now I only talk to Jonathan, and I've seen Michael also. It's a very nice guy. But yeah, can't wait to meet more of you guys.
Awesome, man. Thanks for coming up and speaking to us.
Hey Elliot,
Casper,
real quick. Sorry, Elliot. Real quick. If you have you heard of the Kaspa experience, and if you have, are you attending?
Yeah, I've been invited to the experience. I'm very glad to come. It's very cool. Like I've done I think two events, one in France at the start of the year before my grant, and one in Amsterdam. But having like an event specifically for Kaspa is very cool.
Awesome, man. Can't wait to meet you, man, and rack your brains live in the flesh.
Yeah, Levendi, Elliot is one of the speakers at the event. I couldn't tell whether you were joking at first.
I was
or
not.
It felt almost like a "we have the merch store" type energy, you know, like "have you heard of it? Are you going?" But yeah, dude, he's on the website. He's speaking. We can't wait to hear from you,
My
Elliot. The
God.
Oracle
I can't believe I missed that one.
I honestly thought he was playing as well. I was like, there's no way Levendi's not joking about this, but obviously not. Amazing. Oh dear. Right. Anyway, Casper Onion. Sorry, you've been waiting very patiently. Go ahead.
Perfect. No, all good. I just want to say thank you, and I mainly I don't really have a whole lot to say. I have to express gratitude. I love Bitcoin, and I'm amazed that I think all of us, we each have our own unique story as to how we found Caspa. And I just find it so amazing that all of us, at least just from what I've noticed, we're just trying to problem solve. We're trying to kick the tires. And I've never seen such a concentrated amount of super intelligent people. And I'm just amazed, like, not only are people in the Caspa space intelligent, but like y'all actually like care, you know, like you can be intelligent and selfish, but I notice a lot of people in the Caspa space, like they're trying to do things right. Like we've seen so much go wrong, and I just think that's beautiful. I think everything just seems so organic, and that gives me a lot of faith for humanity, I guess. And I just think it's beautiful. So we all have unique talents, and I think it's just amazing that everyone, whether you're a software developer, whether you're just interested in sound money, I love seeing the vast backgrounds, and everyone is still drawn to this idea of peer-to-peer permissionless cash. Like, we're not going to let this idea die. We're not going to let BlackRock step on it, you know. I think that's beautiful. So I just want to thank everybody here. I think this is beautiful. So that's all.
I just want to thank you for calling me super intelligent. That's the first time that's ever happened in my life. I'm joking.
Honestly, I wanted to just add on to what we were saying before. I know we're all, you know, heavily reliant on the devs and the gigabrains, you know, the Michael Suttons and the Ori Newmans and Jonathan, you know, but those guys are just as reliant on each and every one of us. And I want all of you to understand that regardless, let's say you're just some blue collar guy like me that's in crypto, that doesn't mean you can't contribute to the network. You're just as important. Like I've probably gotten about 30 people in real life that I've just spoken to about Caspa and got them in. Now think about how many people we have. If everybody in here could do that, how many people are you bringing into the network and spreading that network effect? Like you guys are so important, more than you realize. Don't ever sit there and think, oh, I'm just holding this coin and piggybacking. Like, you're part of something that is bigger than yourself. So use that knowledge, all that time you put into researching and understanding Caspa, and spread it to anyone you think who is a sound money advocate or who could benefit from this, which in my opinion, the addressable market is 8 billion people. So just know you're all vital, every single one of you. And this wouldn't be what it is today without everybody doing what they're doing.
Absolutely love that, man. It's a toss up between Ashton and Casper Silver. I'll let you two fight it out. Whoever wants to go first.
Faster click. Dibs. No, honestly, what Caspavelli just said hit home hard for me. I couldn't help myself but throw the hand up, because not only is he 100% right, and each and every one of us is important to Caspa adoption, but we're lucky enough to be operating in a space where those core devs that we hold on such a high pedestal recognize that this is true and they champion it, right? I mean, if we just rewind a few weeks to the whole X debacle with Caspa, the core takeaway from that is these devs know that everyone should be marketing this, and there should be a decentralized approach to marketing and the quote unquote voice of Caspa, and they're championing that and pushing us to do it. So yeah, I mean, 100% fully agree with what Caspavelli said, and thanks for saying it, man, because it's important, and I think we're lucky to be in a space where they're excited to see us do that. You know, there are no gatekeepers preventing us from being that voice. So definitely tell everyone you can.
Yes, 100%. That is the message. We all have a voice. Get it out there. Casper Silver, go ahead.
Yeah, just wanted to add onto that factor that, you actually have a say in this. Like, I think a lot of people don't realize it. A lot of people, I mean, it's just how the world is set up. We're very used to being spoon-fed a lot of times and letting other people kind of do all the dirty work. But in Caspa, the power is literally being given back to you. So like how much time you put in to working on Caspa or doing, you're gonna receive an output for that, and it's gonna be well worth it depending on how much time you put into it. When I first joined uh Caspa, I didn't have any crazy technical background. I researched it and I instantly was like, man, I wish I could code on this thing because I just think it's so valuable to humanity. And so, I just started looking on YouTube for videos, and I looked at the videos that were available at the time, and I'm like, well, these suck. And I was just like, well, I really feel like Caspa deserves way better content to be advocating for something this big. So I decided, I was like, well, I've tried the YouTube thing many times with different stuff. And I was like, let me just go at it. I have a very strong background of, just watching other YouTubers and really like seeing what works for them, what doesn't work for them. And, I decided to just finally make something for myself, unique and could stand out. And it's been a really crazy journey. And I like to always say that I have to give credit to a Bitcoiner because Bitcoin University inspired my channel. So, without Bitcoin, again, I still wouldn't be here. So, Bitcoin still gets, some kind of praise there with when it comes to the channel. But in the end, the other day, I don't know if you guys saw the post, I contributed to the Caspa code base, for the first time ever. Now, I didn't code anything, but I was in the README and I was trying to learn some commands to put in the command prompt so that I could actually use my node to actually verify my balance against my own node. And I made a video about that. And I noticed that there was a typo in the line, and I went ahead, I've gained some skills with GitHub. I learned how to do that, and I went ahead and just made a pull request to update the README, and Ori went ahead and accepted it, and it got updated. And I, it all started just because I had the will. If you have the will to do it, you can achieve it. You just gotta be motivated and just go at it. I mean, and you gotta start somewhere. I might not have made code, but hey, I fixed a typo that actually probably would have messed a lot of people up when they're trying to read it and they're not realizing that they're putting a wrong command in, and that's why it's not working. So, it just takes that motivation to kind of get to where you want to be. And then another thing I just want to bring up because I'm over here chatting with some other person here on X. Um, VJ actually put a post about you only need three assets in this world, and he said BTC as a long-term hedge against monetary debasement, CAS long-term hedge against monetary debasement, store value, and medium of exchange. And then the third one was fiat. The only other asset you should have after Bitcoin Cash was fiat for everyday purchases and short-term stability. And I said number three can be replaced by number two. In other words, Caspa spending in fiat can be replaced by number two if we fight hard enough. And a common thing that I always see, a common question is, someone asked, why would you trade in something that goes up in value to buy something that goes down in value? Doesn't make sense. So Caspa can't be fiat. And that question always comes up like, why would anyone want to buy or sell uh Caspa if it's volatile, goes up and down, whatever. And this is how I answer it, and I'm hoping this might help other people when they get that question because I see this one all the time. I said very simple, it's needs. Uh, Remember that Caspa is for the world. It is not limited to privileged countries where our fiat hold their value better. A person in a third world country would rather save and spend in Caspa because saving or spending in their own currency is never better. And so a lot of times people forget that Caspa is global. It is not just restricted to your country. And in your country, Caspa is actually better for you as a store of value rather than a medium of exchange because you just have a better fiat. But in another country, it's better as store value and a medium of exchange. And the thing about Caspa is that it's versatile. It can actually support both needs depending on what you need. And that's just what makes Caspa so special. It's global, it's versatile, it can tap into different markets. It's not just exclusively one market. And this is why Caspa is actually becoming bigger than just storing value, transferring value. Now we're actually transferring communications, with Cassia messaging. Soon I'm going to be playing chess on Caspa. That's going to be fun. I mean, yeah, some Bitcoiners may think, well, that's spam. Why would you want to do that? Well, on Caspa, it's just another day because it can do that. Why not? If we believe in permissionless technology, then I shouldn't need permission to do what I want with it. And that's what Caspa actually enables people to do. So that's my take on those things.
Yeah, and Bitcoiners call it spam only because they, like you said, they can't. The Bitcoin network can't handle it.
Can't handle it. Yeah.
For Kaspa, it can handle it no problem, and it actually benefits the network because you're getting fees from that.
Yep.
So again, it's all about that narrative where it's spam, but it's not. It's usable. It's actually I actually really like the way you put that. If we're living in a permissionless system, we should be allowed to do whatever we want with it. So I really like that take on it. I forgot what I was going to say as well. There was something else you said that was really good, but I completely forgot it. I should have written it down. My bad. Does anybody have anything else they want to add to this? VJ, I'd actually like to circle back to you a bit about this. Actually, what do you think? Like now that you've been in Casper for a while, you can see that obviously a lot of us are bots. Yeah, but how was the Bitcoin community that you were part of anyway? Are they treating you any different? Are you getting a lot of shit for saying what you're saying? I'd love to hear your thoughts on how that's going and what you like. I suppose what I'm saying is, are you getting more people from Bitcoin that are actually asking questions about Casper now, or are you getting a lot of hate, or is it equal in numbers?
Yeah, that's a good question. Definitely not equal in numbers. I'm thinking maybe 10% maybe curious, the other 90% just straight up blocking me. And I guess it's interesting because I'm also part of some in real life Bitcoin communities here too. And we're in a group chat and there's like about 100 of us or something in there. And I could tell that it feels like they think I'm promoting a shit coin, and I just like kind of stepped out of the group. Like I'm still in it. Like I'll probably still go to a meetup or whatnot, but I could feel that their opinion of me may have changed. But in reality, I mean, I still own Bitcoin. I still have the same mission as them. It's just I genuinely believe I'm just more open-minded, or I'm asking them, I'm like, hey, prove me that I'm wrong. Teach me why I may be wrong about Kaspa, or have you considered this area of Bitcoin that may not actually be as accurate as you think, or you don't think that this area has a problem? And so I think it's more just being civil, but also opening up to dialogue, more intellectual curiosity, and just keep I wouldn't say pushing, but just have the conversations. Like, because I am also similar to you, Chris. I think you mentioned this. It's like we don't know where blind spots are, and I think it's important to be intentional about finding our blind spots. And that's why I'm asking all these questions. And I'm asking for Bitcoiners to literally actively attack Kaspa on a real merit, other than the fact it's not Bitcoin. But so far they're unable to do it. Or if they do have a real valid argument, lets me go and learn about it, and then realize, oh, maybe there is a real argument, or maybe it's just fun, maybe something they haven't looked into. So I like keeping the open conversation. Yeah, I've lost a ton of, I guess, followers on X, people who I've never met, so it doesn't matter. But I think what possibly hurts is joining a community in real life and then feeling like, hey, you're no longer a part of it, even though I still have majority Bitcoin. So I think that might be the only part which kind of hurts. But, just met these guys a few months ago, so not a huge deal.
It's quite a shame, though, isn't it? And again, I suppose that falls back into sort of, it can be quite tribal, but if you're not constantly asking questions, you will get tunnel visioned, and you will get blindsided eventually. Which is why I think it's always good to ask questions about Cas. Like, always try, like you said, try and attack Kaspa. You're always trying to work out reasons. Have I missed something? Is there something that I genuinely am missing here? Which is why I want these really, really smart people to try and attack Kaspa in some way. But like you said, so far they haven't been able to do it, and that's ultimately a good thing. It just your conviction grows because of it. But you should never, ever, ever stop asking the questions, because you do get blindsided by it, and your biases can take over. I mean, and you've got to recognise your biases. Yeah. So, but I think really, really massive fair play to you for doing this, because it's not easy going against the grain when you're so in a community as well. Again, like for any of us here that have been in the Kaspa community for a while, imagine now someone coming out and saying, I think I found something better than Kaspa. Like the initial
You're crazy.
reaction.
Get out of here.
Exactly. We hate you, never speak to us again. No, I'm joking. It's not, but again, like, you've got to be open to the idea. You've got to, if someone comes along and says, look, genuinely, I think we found something better, you've got to be open to that idea. But yeah, so massive props to you, man. I think you have done incredible work for Kaspa in the short amount of time you've been in it anyway, because again, you're getting the conversations going with Bitcoiners, which is incredible, and you're actually getting Bitcoiners involved in Kaspa, which is great, because hopefully they share that they're not in it for the money go up side of things. They're in it because they genuinely believe in where this could possibly go. So yeah, massive props to you.
Thank you. Yeah, I also remember sharing I guess a few weeks back, the Saturday morning session with the Bitcoiners. I shared it with that in-person community, and I just remember they were just bashing the people on the Kaspa side in that chat, and I tried defending, and I'm just like, you know what? It's literally me versus over 100 people. I'm not even going to do this. So one of the moderators came on, and he's like, hey, no more talk about Kaspa, and I'm like, okay, no more. So it's almost like they don't even want to listen to it, but I respect it, right? It's like it's their community. I get it. I was part of it, and I want to respect that. It's not like you go into a different religion and just start talking about your religion, right? It's you gotta know your time and place, but also be open-minded. And I just don't think going into a Bitcoin only community and telling them about Kaspa is a way, but talk to certain people in a community outside that may be open-minded, and just have, I guess, more one-on-one conversations, or 1-2 small group conversations. I think that's what we're doing on X here.
They'll believe it when they see it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the hope anyway. But again, a lot of people, when you show them Kaspa and you go, see, it transacts fast, they go, yeah, well, so does everything else. But they're thinking proof of stake. They don't like, yeah, I don't know. like, a proof of work that can scale. Nobody thought could happen. Like genuinely, they gave up on it because, and that's why people move. That's why proof of stake exists, is because they couldn't scale the proof of work, so they gave up on it and said, right, it's not going to work. It's like the only guy or guys, I suppose, Avid Zohar as well. They were, Jonathan and Avid were like, no, we can scale proof of work. We're going to do this, and they did. It's incredible, and it was years and years and years of research actually trying to scale Bitcoin, but it didn't take, and here we are today. It's now Kaspa. Kaspa Kai, you're up here. How are you doing? Love to get your opinion on things.
Hey guys, how you doing? A lot of people were talking about the fee markets, and to be really honest, you guys have absolutely nothing to worry about when it comes to fee markets. There is so much demand out there for high frequency, low transactional price engines for managing high frequency trading and high frequency transactions. And we're seeing an awful lot of it at the moment. So just to assure the community, there is a lot of demand for that type of transactional volume sitting out there in the market. And just a little bit of updates from our side, we're finishing out Warp Core, which is the ISO 222 rails. And so as of, it was their birthday the other day actually, but KI is 1 year old. But we now have and have been testing the rails for Warp Core and the ISO 222 transactions. We've run the whole suite of tests from Swift. So we now have to go through the whole regulatory and compliance piece with a number of institutions and with the Swift organization themselves. But we've successfully completed on mainnet a lot of those test transactions. So I just thought I'd like to share that with you. And then to complement that, we're developing at the moment our own enterprise grade wallet. Not to say that there's anything wrong with any of the existing Caspa wallets. They're all absolutely great and fantastic. Tangent is absolutely wonderful if you want a cold wallet experience. But for enterprise grade, which requires extra levels of security and audit capabilities and multi-sig and everything else, we're working on an enterprise grade wallet, which we'll probably be testing in the next couple of weeks.
Absolutely insane. That is really, again, this is what's so good. Like, you guys are really driving the adoption of Caspa as well, obviously on an industrial level. And like you said, with the ISO compliance that you're doing with Warp Core, I mean, for people in the audience that may not understand this is going to be able to speak between existing bank networks. Is that right?
Yeah, so the banking networks, you may have used the Swift network at some point in your life if you've ever tried to send money from one bank to another or one country to another, and you've had to wait 3 to 5 business days. So a new standard was introduced in March of this year called ISO 222, and that's the new communication standards for messaging between banks. And Caspa now has that ability to communicate directly with TradFi banks. So TradFi banks can actually take or conduct transactions via Caspa and then hold and treasury manage those digital assets themselves on their own networks. So effectively, if a bank wants to launch its own CBDC and wants to do it outside the XRP or RippleNet, which is very centralized and has all of the difficulties that it's had, Caspa can offer that solution now. and it's very quick. So the minimum viable product is there, and we've done a lot of test transactions, and it's working pretty well.
This is this is really big news as well, because like you said, like with Caspa, obviously the fee market is something that we need to tackle head on. We've got a bit of time, but not a lot of time. But something like this, something like Warp Core, could bring a hell of a lot of volume. Just Warp Core alone could bring a hell of a lot of volume to Caspa's network. And like I was trying to think, so would this be able to be a payment processor for just businesses in general that want to accept Caspa's payment? Is that something that could happen? So like that basically for the everyday person, they wouldn't even realize they're using Caspa's network. They just tap their card, the money gets deducted from their bank account. It then uses Caspa as a payment rail, but via Warp Core. And then all of that good stuff happens in the background. And so basically the actual user or the customer doesn't even realize they're using Caspa, because that's I think where adoption will be massive, when people don't even realize they're using a crypto.
Yeah, we kind of see it as an unseen engine, and that's how a lot of the stuff that we're doing will be Caspa will be the unseen engine, where it's just doing all the heavy lifting. But realistically, what we're doing is interbank communications. So we're actually taking fiat transactions and processing it for banks. So that allows neobanks to do much smaller transactions, much quicker and much faster, with much more security.
And is there well, firstly, have you approached people about, like, have you shown what Warp Core could be to like banks or anyone like that, to payment processors, anyone like that would? I'm trying to work out if there's actually a market for this yet, for people that would want to use Caspa.
Well, anybody who wants to use XRP, we have an alternative for them.
Yeah, a much better alternative as well.
Like a totally decentralized alternative, and the differentiator that we have is that the KYC stuff is an optional layer, where it's mandatory on RippleNet. So we can do everything that Ripple can do, except it's actually truly decentralized and faster and more scalable.
This is so good. Like, I'm really pleased to hear about this as well. I know you've been working on it in the background anyway, but again, as Kaspa Kai, you're not public facing, you're very industry facing. So again, a lot of the public may not like, they see things and then they don't hear anything, but that's mainly because, again, you are industry facing, you're not public facing at all. You're doing this for industry, and I suppose obviously you're probably wrapped up in NDAs and all sorts of things.
Yeah, most of our work is working with our alumni in DII Desert Energy, which is a network of 160 of the biggest energy companies in the world. And we started this journey looking for a solution to trade energy more efficiently, particularly in MENA region, as new types of fuels are coming on stream, like e-fuels, sustainable aviation fuel, ammonia, green hydrogen, and others. So we wanted to create regional markets for that, but to trade and settle it really quickly and fast and efficiently. And then when it comes to the carbon credit aspects, to do so in a very secure, totally secure, immutable end-to-end way. And that's where we came from. But it turns out we needed other rails to work. So we do need to talk. We couldn't just use Caspa on its own. We do need to actually talk to TradFi for letters of credit and all sorts of other various different traditional financial instruments that will be digitized eventually. But in the short term, we're ready to allow banks and financial institutions to use Kaspa as the transactional network.
So good. And so really for you guys, Warp Core and Kaspa itself allow you to be that market enabler for all of these things that you want to do.
Yeah, exactly. So we have the ZEET exchange for zero emission trading, and we have that. We have a version of that working as well. We have our own version of smart contracts. We actually have more than one. We have an EVM which we don't particularly like. We're looking at doing something different. Instead of EVMs, we're looking at micro EVMs. We're looking at Risk 5. We're looking at some other novel solutions that we think will stand the test of time better. So every time we look at something, we use this idea of retro causality. So we think, well, we're in the year 2035. Looking back, what should we have done? And it's a lens that we apply to everything that we do. So we're trying to be as future proof as possible, because generally the energy industry tends to think in terms of decades. So we're already planning on networks that are going to require 10 years of permitting, and then are going to be operational for 50 years plus.
Yeah, Caspa's fee market is totally fine, isn't it? Really.
In the long term, absolutely.
Yeah, unreal. For anyone who's listening and doesn't know Kaspa Kai, I'm not sure if VJ you've heard of Kaspa Kai before, but they like you Kaspa Kai, you've had you've been trying to think of solutions like this for a long time, and you've actually used Bitcoin as one of those possible solutions, but you just couldn't do it because it was too slow. Is that right?
Yeah, Bitcoin is too slow, too cumbersome, too unstable in terms of pricing to actually do anything useful with. And using it as a settlement instrument is not ideal. If anybody's ever been involved in any type of commodity trading, they'll know that they have a credit manager sitting in a back office somewhere, and they don't like taking any FX risk. And the settlement risk on Bitcoin is quite high because of the time scales involved, and then how do you hold it on your balance sheet and everything else. So we very early days on, we looked at Bitcoin, and we looked at solutions as using Bitcoin as far back as 2012. And then from 2014, 2015, we started looking at ETH. We built a whole bunch of demonstration systems, but the biggest issue that we were having at the time was that a lot of the smaller transactions ended up costing more in processing fees than the actual value of the transactions themselves. So it just wasn't worth it. And that's been the case with quite a lot of projects that were doing microtransactions where they were trying to do peer-to-peer energy trading. The transactional costs were costing more than the value of the energy itself.
And then obviously the security side of things as well, because certainly when Ethereum moved to proof of stake, that was out of the picture for you guys. Because again, when you're transacting in the amount of money that you are, it has to be secure. Like that's got to be one of the main things that it has to be secure.
Yeah. The security is the huge thing when it comes to the energy industry on all aspects. We have to be resilient to cyber attacks. From the hardware level right down to the transactional level. So Caspa provides an extra level of an extra security layer for the industry, which doesn't exist anywhere else. So Caspa has a lot of unique properties that we like, and we like the whole idea of power to what we call power to X, which is Kaspa, or sorry, energy to digital commodity. So we have a lot of stranded renewable assets that were all designed and the grid never showed up. And we're very keen on building those out and running mining on those stranded renewable assets, or not just mining, or mining plus AI on those renewable stranded resources in the desert regions. So just to give you an example of how cheap the power we're able to get is, and why it's profitable and interesting for us. We're profitable at selling power purchase agreements at 1.3 cent a kilowatt hour. So just go compare that to your own utility bills, and you'll just see how much of a competitive advantage we have when it comes to utilizing these stranded resources. And in those cases, then we don't have the extra layer, pancaking layers of transmission charges, distribution charges, metering charges, and so on layered on top of that. Just the pure raw power. We're profitable at 1.3 cent a kilowatt hour.
Insane. I certainly would like some of those kilowatt hours in my house. That would help a lot. So if you wanted to test it on me, that's absolutely fine. You can test it on my house. That would do me a massive favour.
Yeah, well, unless you have a nice big back garden in Dubai or Saudi Arabia, then it's not going to be too much use to you. The sun doesn't really shine so great in England.
I'll move to Mongolia. We can get set up there. But no, I mean, this is absolutely massive news, and really, really, really glad to hear about this as well. Because I know as well you do a lot of in-house sort of conferences with energy people, I suppose, energy companies. Have you approached them about or spoken to them about Caspa or Warp Core?
Yes. So we have an annual summit. The last one was in Vienna. The next one is in Dubai in November. But then every few months we have working groups of energy CEOs and brainstorming and think tank sessions. And the most recent one was 2 weeks ago. And at that we were discussing how the energy corridors of the future are going to be reshaped by compute, so i.e. mining and AI compute. So that's going to come up a lot faster than anybody's expecting. So our job is how do we tap into that to make sure that we bring the right energy resources to the right place, particularly in terms of zero emission energy. But then how do we also make Caspa relevant to that? And we can make Caspa relevant to that in quite a few ways. So one of the things that we're doing is we're trying to bring carbon credits on chain using Caspa, and what we're doing there is something quite innovative, where we're separating out the environmental attributes from the underlying commodity, and in doing so, we're creating brand new digital financial instruments for trading, and that market alone is currently subjected to significant fraud and abuse, and we think we can eliminate that. And the total market value of that sector alone by I think by 2030 is about 2 trillion. So at the moment, it's just a complete disaster of a market. There's no real standards anywhere, but by digitalizing it, bringing it onto a secure network, a network that's secured by energy, we think that will make a big difference.
Unbelievable. Levendi, have we got any questions?
Yeah, I was just about to unmute because they were coming through, and you guys, I just would love to let you speak forever, to be honest. But thanks for asking. So we've had a couple of questions. Kaspa Key, I'm not sure how much you're able to answer. I don't want to get you into any trouble at all with your guys and with what you're not able to say. But you may let me ask you some questions. The community has been buzzing hearing you speaking.
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. So I had one question straight off the cuff from Coder of Stuff. He's been asking, or he's asked, any initial stats we can look at, particularly interested in transaction volume estimates.
Yeah, we've run a lot of simulations, and we'll share that data directly with Coder of Stuff. I think he's in one of the chat groups, the Telegram private groups that we're in with the core team.
Awesome. Nice one for anybody that's listening to that. There you go. There is another question that's come through from Ozgosti. Is it possible to see a Warp Core live demo on mainnet and energy trading?
For Warp Core, yeah, I think we can probably record a session and show an end-to-end back transaction. So it basically, you'll see somebody's account number with their details. It'll be validated as to their KYC and AML, and there'll be a volume associated with it, a currency associated with it, and its destination. And then that gets all wrapped up into an ISO 222 compliant message. The transaction occurs, it gets recorded on chain. It spits out an answer, and the message then gets wrapped up a different way and spit back out. For the energy trading stuff, I think we're planning on doing a podcast maybe next month, and I think at that point we might actually show and go through a step-by-step demo of the ZTEX exchange. So you can see how we have the trading pairs set up with Gigawatt Coin and say green hydrogen or a green index fund. You can see how we have set up tokenization of real world assets. So if you want to buy a share of an active solar park in Oman, we can take you through the steps of how we'll do that. Or if you want to, or if you're a project developer, and you can see the margins that we have on power purchase agreements. You can take a token in a pre-built project. You can stake that token and earn a yield from it. So we have a working demo available. We've just done our new test wallet integration into it. It's still a bit janky, but it's working as a minimum viable product right now.
That is awesome to hear, man. Thank you for answering that.
But we'll definitely showcase that off in the next. Give us another maybe 3 or 4 weeks, and we'll showcase off the whole thing end to end.
Very nice, man. I'm really looking forward to seeing that as well. I've had a few people asking me the same thing, so I'm just gonna ask well, say I don't know how to word it properly. Will they be getting a chance to hear all about what you guys are doing and building live in the flesh in Berlin at the Caspa Experience event?
It's very much dependent on availability and schedules. There's excluding me, there's 8 other people in the core KAI team, and then we have a wider group of an additional 18 people. So you'll probably get someone from KAI showing up.
Awesome, man. It'd be awesome to meet them. I'll be going there as well. Chris is going to be, it's going to be an awesome event, man. The more I speak about it, the more I want to be there now, to be honest. I'm really, really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good event. But like I said, we are really industry facing. Most of the things, are not for crypto land, unfortunately. But certainly, they will have a big impact on the fee market. We're talking with telecoms companies and media companies and energy majors, and that's where we're trying to bring Caspa to.
I mean, me personally, all of this is incredible and definitely will benefit Caspa. For me personally, I want to know exactly what my olive oil is, if it's true olive oil and not have seed oils in it. So I'm looking forward to that one, definitely.
Yeah, olive chain is actually one of the favorite pet projects that we have. And actually, we might actually do something. We may actually do something for the community with olive chain. And olive chain is quite interesting because you're taking an underlying asset, i.e., an olive tree that may have a 300 or 400-year-old provenance that produces a crop of olives every 2 years, and the market is very opaque. So it's a really interesting test case for taking an asset that is generally difficult to sell. Again, we can strip out the environmental attributes and make that a separate trading instrument. Then we have the provenance of the oil itself, and then we can create a liquid market for the actual oil, and then have full end-to-end provenance tracking of the oil, as well as being able then to offer a long-term yield from an asset that produces a commodity.
I love how you guys actually think. I think you certainly think outside the box, and I think industry, especially moving forward, needs this. I mean, when Paul Van Son, for example, when he and I may get this wrong, so please correct me, but as far as I'm aware, he sort of spearheaded the solar energy trading, and at that time it was just ridiculous talk, like, why would you ever bother, it's not profitable, blah 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 blah. But it's that sort of thinking that really pushes through innovation. And I mean, I think that's
16 years ago, solar was the most expensive form of energy on the planet. It needed to be highly subsidized to make it work. And in the intervening period, it's now the cheapest form of energy on the planet. So with power purchase agreements of 1.3 cent and profitable at 1.3 cent a kilowatt hour, it's extremely viable as a mainstream energy resource now. And at the time, there was huge fights like mega fights because the original constituency of what was called the Desert Tech Industrial Initiative before it was renamed DII Desert Energy. It was all the German car manufacturers and big German chemical companies and everything else who were very concerned about the future of their energy security. And there was mega battles in the same way there was between Bitcoin and Kaspa and everything else. There was mega battles between guys who wanted to who were saying concentrated solar power was going to be the best way forward versus which is basically where you get these huge arrays of mirrors. You point it at a tower with molten sodium and you make steam and you can store the molten sodium versus the solar PV cells that we see on everybody's rooftops. And there was huge mega battles and exactly like people discussing Caspa versus Bitcoin. And ultimately, solar PV won out in the end, and most of the concentrated solar projects with the mirrors, they've either failed or they're being decommissioned.
There's a very big similarity there somewhere, isn't there? But it's sort of like the AC/DC argument as well that Orangutan Elder writes about. It's so true. It's really it seems to always happen with I can't say the word
Competing standards like Betamax and VHS.
Yes,
or
yeah, exactly. It always seems to be that sort of battle between new tech that's coming through. So it's eerily similar with this sort of Casper Bitcoin thing. Yeah.
Well, actually, my personal speciality is actually HVDC networks, believe it or not. High voltage DC networks for long distance power transmission. And that was actually our very first implementation of blockchain, was to develop a system to allocate trades across borders. So if you have a cable linking two countries together and you want to trade across it, how do you, at speed, allocate capacity, allocate trades, and make nominations and renominations for the amount of power you want to send across in both directions. And that was our very first implementation of blockchain in energy. At least my one, that was just over 10 years ago.
Unreal. That's just mad, isn't it? Like, yeah. I suppose that's why you've got to be so forward thinking, because like you future proof yourself. So and this is why Casper is just perfect. Well, potentially perfect for what you are wanting to do, especially in the future.
Yeah, so everything we look at, we're looking at for the next 20 or 30 years, because we're making investment decisions based on 25-year paybacks, in some cases even longer.
Absolutely incredible.
So when people ask us the when question, it's really, really annoying, because for us, generally when we're developing projects, sometimes they can be in permitting for 6 or 7 years, then 2 years of construction, and then operational for 30 years. So we tend to think in decades long time frames. So we're really not worried about the fee markets. And it's just a different mindset that we have. So we're not so worried about this particular crypto cycle. For us, we think this crypto cycle, the main narrative will be around AI and Bitcoin, but the next one will definitely be around real world asset tokenization.
I mean, I'm really glad, because, like you said, you think so far in the future because you have to. You need something that's going to be working and profitable in the future, that certainly puts my mind at ease that you're looking 30 years in the future and Caspa's still there and you're using it. That means something's gone extremely right. So that is a good thing.
Yeah, well, you know, if we're looking to launch a smart contract, for example, we want to make sure that it's going to be still working in 30 years' time.
100%. I've seen Gaurav's come up here, and I know it's extremely early for you, Gaurav. Did you have something you wanted to say or add to this?
I just wanted to say hi, Chris. Lovely to hear your voice. And lovely to see everybody here.
Amazing, man. I really appreciate that because, again, I do know how extremely early it is for you, and I did see you join the space. I'm quite shocked.
Yeah, you probably won't believe this, but I'm actually up working with I've been spending actually probably around 7 hours a day working on Kaspa. But you don't see me in the Twitter circles because of the timing, but I'm in the dungeons of the developer Telegram channels. But yeah, it's been quite a turn of life focus, I would say. Just wanted to say I'm still fighting for you guys. I don't know if you guys remember the first the debate I had with Shai. Brought up some issues with the technology, and I'm fighting to get them patched up as soon as possible. Don't tell anybody, but we're not as secure as Bitcoin yet. But I think we're going to be there soon. The code's written. I just need to get the developers to accept it so that we can be on the same level. But it will be there shortly, I would say.
Amazing. So what is it you're actually working on, Gaurav, or can we not?
Well, no, we can talk about it. So I had the initial proposal for quantum resilience. I've had to kind of like I've had to pivot a little bit in the approach. It's now like a multi-phased approach. And I'm actually deliberately keeping the later phases secret from the developer group because I think it's going to be a little more contentious with those things, although that's going to provide the most security. The first phase is a very simple, actually it was the first thing I asked Shai, which was that why don't we have hash digests of our public keys, because we, excuse my French, but have our pants down almost. Every other cryptocurrency has their coins protected by a hash digest and we don't. So that's the most obvious thing that I need patched up as soon as possible. Yesterday I had a kind of a intellectual grappling match with some of the developers. I'm so happy we have like really smart people there. It's a completely different experience than some of the other communities, I would say. But I think we are coming into terms with the fact that we are going to need this. It's just the approach that needs to be finalized. I'm going to have to redo some of the code that I wrote. But basically, the first phase is to put a hash digest. So it's going to be kind of like a improved address, that it's going to have more protection, which is going to be a little bit more secure than Bitcoin. But right now, we don't have any security for Shor's algorithm, if you want to get technical about it. Quantum computers have two ways to attack addresses, Shor's algorithm and Grover's algorithm. And right now we're completely naked on both fronts. And so my first attempt is to make sure we have protection against Shor.
Absolutely incredible. Because for people that don't know, this is about quantum resistance or resilience, at least, for Kaspa. Because that, funny enough, that's sort of how we met on a Bitcoin talk. Because that was something that you were, I don't know if you were working on that for Bitcoin as well, for a quantum.
I am. And actually, so Hunter and I are kind of heading it for Bitcoin right now. So there's a lot of interplay of ideas going on. And I'm keeping a keen eye on what's going on in Bitcoin as well. I think in Bitcoin it's a little bit of a bigger sort of focus for everybody. There is some sort of news with instead of saying names, certain figures in the IBM circle, let's put it that way, that have there was a conference recently, and there was an IBM spokesman there, and the way he was answering questions was not very, comforting, I would say. So, I think the pressure is a little bit more on the Bitcoin side to patch things up for quantum for Q Day. Even though I think realistically it's probably going to be some time till we get there. Our timeline in the Bitcoin circles are 2 to 5 years. We have to come up with something. I think by 2 years and 5 years, we're going to block certain types of addresses that are vulnerable. There's some debate about Satoshi's coins because it's 1.7 million coins. They're most vulnerable right now, which is why everybody's they're low-hanging fruit. They're most vulnerable, which is why most people are concerned about it. The bad news for us in Kaspa is that our coins are equally vulnerable as Satoshi's coins, which is we need to patch that as soon as possible. So, but I'm going to be the pit bull for the community, and I'm going to get there as soon as possible, no matter how much friction I'm getting from the dev team. But yeah, we need to patch that up because we can't have the same vulnerability that coins from 2010 would have, right? Yeah.
Gaurav, that's really interesting because we actually ran just a really light Grover's algorithm on IBM's Quantum using I think it's called QuizKit. And what we were doing, we were looking at simulating optimized block DAG graph traversals. We thought it was something that was worth looking at and playing around with a little bit.
How's it going, by the way? How many bit sets have you guys tackled?
Well, we only get 10 minutes of access per month.
Right.
So it's you can't do very much in 10 minutes, but it was something that's we just tried as a little experiment. It was quite interesting.
Yeah.
I'll share with you some more details offline if you
Yes, sure. Yeah, I would love to get more details. Grover is something we'll have to deal with actually, fortunately, later because, excuse my French again, but Grover is a little bit of a motherfucker. I'm way too scared of Grover. But Grover's algorithm won't be an issue probably 10 years after the SQ day. SQ day is Shore's Q day. Q day is basically like doomsday, but for quantum computers, there are 2 Q days. There's the SQ day and there's the GQ day. GQ day is the scary one, but there's probably going to be a 10-year gap between SQ day and GQ day. So right now, SQ day is the one that we're worried about. Kaspa is vulnerable to both. Bitcoin is vulnerable to GQ day. They have the public keys hashed, which is what I want us to have as soon as possible. The code is written, but yesterday I had to change the approach because we do have, the great mind. So I think there's a better approach, and so I'm going to adopt the better approach. But it should be non-controversial because all we're doing is employing the same mechanism that Bitcoin and every other cryptocurrency, by the way, employs to protect the public keys. And it should be something that is the least contentious, I would think. My other phases are going to be more contentious based, but they're going to be adding way more security. But I want to get this one passed as soon as possible. But I think we're going to be there soon.
And would that require a soft fork for doing that?
It might require a hard fork. Yeah, might require a hard fork. And the thing is, it's not because it breaks anything that's already existing. So if anybody's worried about that, please be assured that it's not going to break anything that exists. So keep on innovating, keep on building on the address types that's available right now. This is just going to actually activate a dormant address that's already in the code. Only it's going to come with a redeem script that is not going to be recognized by the miners. So it is going to be kind of like a hard fork because they'll just consider it invalid. but it's not going to break anything that already exists. But we might have to hard fork, which, you know, it's hard forks. People get really scared with hard forks. People should not. Hard forks only scary when they're contentious. It's almost like a roadmap, a very well-established roadmap of how to go about hard forks with the signaling and only activation after 95% of miners have signaled to approve the hard fork, so on and so forth. It's only an issue when you know 50% really hates it and 50% really likes it, and they're not going to agree. And now there's a fork in the chain itself. That's when hard forks become an issue. But non-contentious hard forks are not an issue. You could think of them as a software upgrade or update.
Absolutely fantastic. And what I really like about you, Gaurav, is obviously you're doing this for Bitcoin as well. You're trying to sort solutions out for there. This is the sort of thing I want. I want people, you're obviously smart and much smarter than I am at this sort of thing. But we need people like you to address the issues. If there's problems, address them. And this is why I started losing faith, or actually quite recently I've started losing faith in Bitcoin, because it just feels to me that there aren't people addressing problems within Bitcoin that I can see arising in the future. It's future-proofing it. It's exactly what you're doing with the quantum resilience, is you're future-proofing things. Because quantum isn't here yet, but it will come at some point.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's astounding to me. I would say astounding to me that so many people have made so much money in Bitcoin, yet they're not paying attention to what's happening in the quantum resilient solution space. They're not paying attention to like all the efforts that are being made, the discussions that are taking place. Not only the people that have made a lot of money that are in the business sort of arena, but also some of the OG developers that should be worried about this. I mean, almost every other time they've come to battle with whatever foe that we've had to battle with, and there've been many. It just seems like there's not much attention this time, and I don't know why. Maybe Bitcoin exchange rate has gone up quite a lot, and they've been through a lot of battles, and burnout plus comfort can be a good deadly combination in terms of not motivating you to do anything, right? That's the only thing I can think of.
I mean, it does make sense. So yeah, I'm just glad it's again. This is what's beautiful about an open source project as well, is any dev can sort of work towards it. I'm glad you're one of those people that are working towards something that's going to make things future proof. It's really, really good.
Thank you.
Again, always appreciate you, man. I'm really glad we found you on a random Bitcoin talk.
I'm glad I found Kaspa, so the feeling is mutual.
Absolutely fantastic. Cheers, Gaurav. Ashton, I wanted to move to you quickly because I don't know if you have any updates for Moonbound and things like that, if you wanted to share now, because we're what, 3 hours in? So.
Yeah, 3 hours in is crazy, man. This show has been amazing today. And honestly, they just keep growing every week, right? I mean, I keep getting this feeling week after week of like, oh man, today's a long show. And it's like we're getting so much more conversation in here than we normally do. But it's good. I think it's fantastic. And I think it's indicative of Caspa ecosystem as a whole, right? It's growing and it's growing organically. Gaurav is such a great example of that, I think. But yeah, happy to give some Moonbound updates if you want them. We did send out a tweet earlier today that documented these. There's not a ton, but there's a notable difference in using the platform. So if you haven't tested it, you should get in there and test again. I think there's now 4 additional languages in Moonbound, in addition to English, of course. The list of those is, I think, 7 or 8 long that we're still working on with some translators from the community. So we should get that into, I think, the majority of languages that are heavily used in a platform like this shortly. Aside from that, on the tweet, you'll see significant improvements to the leaderboard, now called Starboard. But this covers like market cap and volume numbers and some achievement trophies for certain tokens on there. We've also done a lot of like administrative like linking of things, right? So like the holders list previously wasn't linking to the Casplex Explorer. So that's in there now. We also saw some pretty good infrastructure upgrades. We rolled out the CDN for images, token images, and user account images on comments and things, and significant speed improvement in not having to render those images fresh every time. Also, WebSocket performance. So here we're using sockets to essentially update charts and data on the page live, so people don't have to refresh. And the initial beta version people were testing had 4 separate socket connections on every page, and we've essentially optimize those into a single call or single socket connection on each page. So speed-wise on Moonbound, I think is the biggest update. Seeing probably close to 2x speed on actual transactions and charts updating when you process transactions and things like that. In terms of analytics, it's actually very, very similar numbers to last Monday. So I'm thinking we've found a tight-knit group of beta testers here that are just repeating each week. But we had almost 2,400 unique visitors to the site. 56 tokens were launched, 2 graduated to Zealous. And in terms of actual like API requests and calls, it's just over 650,000 that the system handled in the last 7 days. So it's moving pretty good.
Yeah, good numbers, man. Really good numbers.
Yeah, it's coming together nicely, and I think what I'm most excited to talk about will have to wait for next Monday, because Moonbound has a really tight and well-structured partnership with Zealous-Swap, and we're working on another one for Moonbound, and it's completely different. It's not a DEX. It's not somewhere your tokens graduate, but it's something that you can have a lot of fun doing when you're launching a token or trading on Moonbound. So maybe some information will slip out or leak over these next couple of days, but definitely tune in next Monday, and we'll talk about all of the second partnership Moonbound has coming.
That's actually a brilliant idea. Hook them into next Monday's show.
It's kind of like I've been here before or something, huh?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this show's been absolutely incredible, to be honest with you. I never expected it to be as alpha droppy as it has been. There's been some mega alpha alpha bombs dropped, which is incredible. So, yeah, I suppose we can wait.
I'm sorry, drums? Just drums?
Bro, it's 12:10. I'm knackered. Gorab's like looking at me like I've been up for ages. It's in the morning and I've been working. But I'm not built like you, man. It's 12:10 and I'm knackered. Anyway, sorry, Ashton, continue.
It's all good, man. I gave you everything I got on Moonbound. We can talk a little bit about Caspa Experience if you want. We added a couple of community sponsors that you saw announced on X over this past week. And we've seen the art exhibition gain some steam too. So we talked last week about the double wide booth that'll have a handful of screens displaying Caspa ecosystem artwork from Boku and the Visual Eye and folks like this. We've had a couple others reach out, and we're just kind of finalizing some things like after party DJ and print materials. Huge shout out to Chad, Rhubarb, Kaspa Commons, all of the above. Guys, amazing and helping us out a lot. So really the event would not be the same without these people helping, Luke, Chad, and a lot of others. So thank you guys.
Yeah, 100%, man. Caspa Commons have been fantastic for branding and branding awareness, marketing for Caspa. And they're always
on hand.
You,
how did I leave you out of that list? You've been hugely helpful, man. Thank you too.
That's all right. I forget about me all the time as well. No, I'm joking. I'm just looking forward to it. I really, really am looking forward to it. Me and Tom are getting all our sort of merch sorted ready for the event to share at the event. It's going to be awesome. We're even thinking of little ideas that we can do in the booth itself for I don't know, just to get people more interactive. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to the Caspa experience. It's going to be one hell of an event, especially for Caspians and Bitcoiners alike. Bring your Bitcoiner friend, convert them. They'll love it.
Absolutely. We were actually talking about with Chris from our team on marketing at Nacho. We were talking this morning about a little campaign that we're going to do at a university in Berlin to try and get some students that are interested in these fields, these STEM adjacent, crypto adjacent type fields, where we can get fresh young minds in there to experience CAS too. I think there's a kind of momentum we build when we start with these young, energetic, student types, where they can go spread the word with their families and friends and things like this. So it should turn out really well. And I think looking at the Malaysia event and all of the content there helps spur a couple other ideas and branding things that we can do too. So everything's teeing up very nicely.
So good, man. Really good idea about the university. I think that's fantastic, because I do believe that children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way.
Well, there you go. I don't know what you're supposed to say after that.
I know, it's really late, man. Really late for me. But
but that was good, bro. That you left everyone speechless there. What do you mean? It's late, but you're throwing them out the park.
I think I'm just showing my age. It's a Tina Turner lyric.
Really?
Is it Tina Turner or one of the other ones?
Oh,
Whitney Houston. It's Whitney Houston lyric. I thought people would get it, but maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just really fucking old.
No, dude, now I already hear it. My 14-year-old's going to be like, "You are so uncultured, Dad. You knew nothing."
By the way, can I say something? The last debate, there was a recent debate that I think it was hands down on Kaspa's side. It was with a Bitcoin group that really was, they really didn't know anything about Bitcoin or cryptocurrency in general. And I think the Kaspa team, our team, really handled it well, because you could just tell how frustrated the other group was. They were even saying like some ridiculous things like, Kaspa has more coins or something, like completely missing the point of scarcity. It doesn't matter how many coins you have, just so long as you have a fixed amount of coins. But I think it was handled really well with our team. I was so proud of the entire team, because the other side was just, they couldn't even keep their cool. And I think that's the correct approach. Like, no matter how frustrated they get, we just have to approach it in a completely calm, cool, collected way, because unlike other cryptocurrencies that don't really have a sound technical basis that's backing up the network, we do. So there's nothing to hide. And I think it's only a matter of time before they get used to the idea that the arguments do hold ground, and the more they get frustrated, the more we should know that our side is winning, right? But we have to keep calm. We have to keep calm when we're succeeding. That's really essential, I would say. But I was really proud of that. That was cool. We need to do more of that, and I'd like to join next time. I don't know where you announced the debate, but yeah, I would love to be in the loop.
I don't think that particular group is going to ever host another debate with the Kaspa community after that. But I would also love to hear a second round, but with far less speakers, and ones that actually know what the hell they're on about, man. Because it was pretty embarrassing. You invite people for a debate, and yeah, at least in my opinion, humble opinion, that was just pretty embarrassing. Is the best word I can use right now for it.
Well, I totally agree with you, Gorev. I think the people up there that spoke done well, especially considering it was sort of like a playground battle, if you know what I mean. Like, it was just who can make fun of the other one the best, rather than sticking to the fact. But I totally agree with you. If when you're in that situation, you just stick to the facts, because that's all Kaspa has to do. Stick to the facts, because there's nothing wrong with it. It's sound money. It's sound technology. Just stick to the facts, just constantly, and you win. I think the one that absolutely blew my brain, and I was like, I cannot believe this is being said, was the duffel bag thing. Everybody knows the duffel bag thing. It's now a meme, a massive meme in the Caspa community. Everyone talks about the duffel bags full of cash if you want to transact instead of using Bitcoin. I couldn't believe it when it was said, honestly. But Gaurav,
what is that? What is the duffel bag thing?
Well, they were saying, like, if we really wanted to transact fast, we'd just use a duffel bag full of cash. Like, I think it was a bit sarcastic.
legit. No,
Bro.
I think it was serious. I think it was deadly serious. There was no sarcasm. It was legit. Use cash. Use fiat. Just use fiat. Just use it, man.
So,
wasn't that the argument of why you don't need fast settlement times for buying a coffee? You can just bring a duffel bag of cash.
That's it. That's what
I
it
want
was.
to see that whole community on X just renamed from Bitcoin Army to Duffel Bag Boys.
Yeah, the duffel bag boys. But Gaurav, you'd be perfect for this because you are actually what I'd consider like you've got the OG Bitcoin ethos about you. You actually understand the fucking tech. So it really does help. You could actually defend Bitcoin's side as well as Caspa's side. But honestly, they would.
I could actually, I could do the thing where, you know, I steel man their argument, and then I show them how, like, our side actually has material that is a little bit stronger than steel, titanium. But it was just, it was embarrassing the way they were reacting to some of the arguments he made. Like EL was like completely like very stoic about his arguments. And the more frustrated they get, you have to remember, especially when things are recorded, it marinates really well, right? When people listen and they see like how crazy the other side was getting, that is a win for our side, clearly. So being level-headed the whole time, I think was a huge plus for us. I mean, we showed a lot of restraint. And those guys did not, and it was pretty obvious they were grasping on straws in the end when they ran out of arguments. And that's exactly where we want the other side to be, which is running out of arguments, right? And then just getting frustrated and raising their voice. And that marinates really well on our side.
It really does, actually, and you're completely right. And that's where you sit there, you think about what did I just actually listen to, and that's where the duffel bag of cash literally. I think it blew a lot of people's mind because they were like, "This isn't even Bitcoin anymore." In fact, if you want to look at some really funny duffel bag full of cash memes, 12-string Kara, I think it is. They're in the audience. They've done some really funny memes about it. Just continually pushing those memes out there, and it is funny. Like,
No,
it's
bro,
just,
you haven't sold me, man. You're all bots. Get out of here.
yeah, gun to head, Bitcoin or
Gun to head, no second best.
Don't. It's just that's what I really don't like. Is you lose the critical thinking if you get too biased in something, and that's quite scary because some of these people may be extremely intelligent, but they're just blinded.
They were not in that debate, and plus, like, you know, they were not smart, Chris. You don't have to be that generous. So the other thing was it was so obvious, you know, anybody that was listening to that the debate that the Kaspa side was being so humble because the most that they were arguing for was second place, and that itself should be something that you know, reflects the humility, reflects the rationality, the logic based approach to this. Like, and the fact that they resorted to arguments like there is no second best is a departure from mathematics. And Bitcoin has a saying, various and numerous, right? Strength in numbers, as in not strength in, you know, how big my army is, but strength in mathematics. And if you're going to departure from mathematics, then I think you're departuring from Bitcoin and departuring from Satoshi's efforts.
I'm so glad you looked into Kaspa, man. Genuinely. And next time, if there's ever another debate, I think Levendi's right. I don't think they'll ever invite Caspians back. But if there is ever a Bitcoin debate that happens in the spaces, you never know, because that show or that X Space got thousands and
I'm
thousands of
legit
views.
searching for it right now to see exactly. Sorry to cut you off. You just literally stumbled on it. Here we go. 25.3K. 25,300 listeners. And the post got 346,000 views.
Yeah, and this is the thing. Like, they may not want to debate this, but there may be some Bitcoiners out there that are looking at that, going, well, like the more ego side of this, like I want that sort of numbers for my space. That may actually entice them to just do it. But either or, if it ever happens again, Gaurav, I'll definitely give you a heads up, because it would be great to have you there as well.
I would love to, and I think it would be even better if we can get Shy involved as well. I think he's
Man,
kind of been.
as much as I would love to hear that, the guy is always pretty much sticks to his word and what he says. I don't think he will ever want to be seen to represent CAS in any way. He's stated that that's not something he would ever do, which is a shame, because like you, I would love to hear what he would say to these guys, and in that particular space, man, he just wiped the floor with them, I imagine, just like you would, I would imagine.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because I've been on the other side for the first debate, but it would be great if we could both be on the same side and tackle these arguments, because I think it might be a pretty good sight to see, and something that can be replayed afterwards, just to show the irrationality of what Bitcoin side has become. That started out pretty rational, but yeah, it's gone crazy now, I think, and it's obvious, and it shows.
It is that there's even the narrative's changed again now to, or it's starting to change. Not everybody thinks like this, obviously. Bitcoiners think like this, but some of them are now saying that Bitcoin layer 1 is only for final settlement. Most people will never have to final settle, like have finality. They'll just live on the L2, and that's all they'll do. And I'm just thinking, we are so far away from what Bitcoin was now. And I hate that these guys are driving that narrative. I think it's just fucking mental. Ashton, you got your hand up.
Yeah, I was just, I mean, to your point on the L2 thing, did you see Kaspa Onion's post about, I mean, if 99% of these transactions exist on the L2 and nothing's on Bitcoin L1, and the block rewards are already scheduled and simulated to be far less than what we need for a security budget, where's the security budget coming from if all of these transactions are on L2?
So the funny thing is with the whole Q day thing, transactions are going to get really big, and I think fees are going to rocket up. So that might be something. Actually, that's going to be something that all blockchains will have to contend with. Rise in fees because of incredibly large transactions, because they've gone PQC or post-quantum cryptography enabled, which is just going to take up a lot of block space. So, there is going to be an increase in fees. Not to mention, like, Satoshi's coins might come back into circulation. We haven't decided exactly how. It might actually go to the miners. I'm not sure. So the destiny of how Bitcoin miners will be earning the revenue has changed and is a little bit uncertain for now. And there may be more resources for miners to get some fees. It's going to come with some trade-offs. But every cryptocurrency is going to go through this. And I feel really bad for Ethereum, because they're going to have to face some real attack vectors, because they reuse their addresses a lot, almost like by definition. That's the only thing I would say, steel manning the other side's argument about fees. But you're right, the fees have dropped down to quite low levels. I think the fees only account for, was it 1% of the subsidy? So if the subsidy goes down, it's going to be a bad thing. But transactions are going to get huge now. Like, by huge, I mean 20 times the current size. So you might see a 20 times increase in fees.
But isn't that
good for starting low on your fees, huh?
Yeah.
But wouldn't the fees going high on Bitcoin be just a horrendous experience for everyone? Because that's my argument, is if fees get too high, people won't transact on them, surely, like the everyday person.
Exactly. Yeah. So the throughput will be decreased, and the fees will increase. So yeah, you're right. It is going to kind of not be the common person's blockchain. There is some evidence that some of the earlier participants kind of saw this coming. Like, for example, famously, Hal Finney was talking about how eventually, there's going to be banks that issue currencies that's backed by Bitcoin, because Bitcoin won't be able to handle the throughput. So it's kind of like an idea that Bitcoiners have had in the back of their mind. They don't really want to accept it, but it has been something that was discussed before. But I'm completely with you. I mean, it does go against what Bitcoin is made for. I mean, you just have to remind people of the title of the paper, right? Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. So that's not being satisfied right now. But there was this, the discussion was taking place early on, just because of the fact that, the blocks are 10 minutes apart and small. So I think people will be okay with the idea of Bitcoin only being for less frequent transactions, let's say. Maybe most of the transaction will be taking place in a different network, Kaspa, hello. But I think Bitcoiners will be okay with that idea of Bitcoin being like transfer of large amounts of coins and not for the small amounts, day-to-day coffee, buying a coffee, for example.
We really need to get some hardcore Bitcoin maximalists. Well, when I say hardcore Bitcoin maximalists, I mean like the neo Bitcoin maximalists who just say the same things over and over again. There is no second best, NPC style.
Well, when you say hardcore Bitcoin maximalists, you mean normal educated Bitcoin maximalists.
Yeah, I should say, like when I say OG Bitcoiners, I mean the ethos of OG Bitcoin. Like you might be like a 2018 Bitcoiner, but if you hold the ethos of we want to have permissionless, we want to be our own bank, that's cool. I don't like this new narrative that's been starting to be pushed now. I just bring back Satoshi's.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it's a small group of Bitcoin. How many were in that group? It's not like it's shown in any other.
There was about 100 of them, and then 21,000 bots. So yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not really like it's probably just gonna, hopefully, you'd think, hopefully it just stays within that circle of people. Like, you'd think if we'd meet another group of Bitcoiners, hope if there is one, more than welcome to join the show and the stage. If you're listening or know of, pass the message on. But you'd think they have a different state of mind, different frame of mind, or hope at least.
Right, I think we're going to have to close this space down, Levendi, because me and you both can't speak properly. We are, we have no more brain juice left. I've really, really enjoyed this space, though. It's been so good. Absolutely love it. Yeah, I'll let you say your goodbyes, and then I'll say my goodbyes, Levendi.
Thanks, mate. I mean, you're right. It's been an insane space. It's 12:30. Holy bro, I've got to be up in a few hours. Oh goodness me! Awesome space. Look, Kaspa-COME were up here as well. Would have loved to hear a bit more, but we've got to end it, man. More than welcome to come back next week, though. Let's talk Kaspa Key as well. A pleasure having you guys up here. More than welcome, everyone on stage. More than welcome to come next week. Continue where we left off, because this has been insane. From the off. I'm going to stop rambling now because, like Chris said, I'm tired. I'm probably going to ramble for long. I've got to say big shout out to Fun Apes in the audience. They've been here since the beginning of the project, OG project on ETH, sponsoring my events at Web3 Poker Club. We will learn more about them on Wednesday, so come through if you enjoy that. More poker. Poker is free, and yeah, check it out. But yeah, it's a good night from me. I think that's a good time for me to say that, and see you on the timeline.
Thank you so much, Levendi and Chris. It's been wonderful. Thank you.
No, man, I really, really appreciate your time. I do just want to say, everybody who's come up and spoken, really appreciate your time coming up to speak. And everybody in the audience who has taken the time to come and listen to us. Without you, we wouldn't have a show. So genuinely, really appreciate you guys as well. Massive thanks to CryptoPumpz. He's actually still in the audience doing this live. So sorry, man. Didn't realise it was going to go on for so long. But thank you for streaming this on your YouTube channel. Massive thanks to everybody in this space. We hope you came for the blockchain but stayed for the banter, and I will see you next Monday. See you later, guys.